WIBC HD2 W298BB, WIBC HD3 W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it!
On 93.5
Watch it!
and 107.5.
Boom, baby!
The Fan.
So hallelujah, this is super cool. Breaking news, whatever you want to call it. This morning, Mark Dykton and I both, as soon as I walked in, Kevin, made reference to one another. First time that we have come in, at least since I've been a part of doing this program. I mean, I'm sure it happens every year. Bright and sunny from the time I got in the car this morning. Makes things a little easier to get going on a Monday, right?
And very fittingly, our first show in the month of May, right?
It's the best. Month of May is here in Indianapolis. The Colts have their draft class. The month of May is here. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Pacers not a part of that.
Some great decorations in the office as well.
Yeah, the folks here at Emmis, which is cool. I think Joe Koppel was responsible for this. Went around to make things festive, kind of like elementary school. Like, you come in and everything's...
Yeah.
The only problem is I don't know that they used a really good adhesive. So
things are already fallen?
Yeah, there's some nice, like, start your engines stuff around and welcome race fans and hanging, but then also you kind of have to wade through some things that didn't last on the wall.
My wife and I went for a walk yesterday afternoon, and you start to see more and more flags out, checkered flags, of course, for the month of May. So very fittingly, with the weather finally turning, it looks like a gorgeous start to probably the favorite month of the year here in the state of Indiana. Good Monday morning. We'll obviously break down a ton of draft coverage. 8 picks for the Colts. We'll talk about it all today. Joel Erickson from the Star is going to join us at 8 o'clock. We're hoping to have Luke Fickell on tomorrow. The Colts took a couple of Cincinnati Bearcats over the weekend, Alec Pierce being the big one, and then Curtis Brooks on Saturday. So hoping to have the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats on with us tomorrow. I listened to you a little bit yesterday on my drive home from the zoo.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How was the zoo?
The zoo is great.
How were the orangutans?
That was our first stop.
I thought I'm 49.75 years old. For 48.5 of those years, I thought
it really
was
your 3/4 birthday?
Pretty close, I think, right?
Oh, I thought
March was my...
I thought it was something he was going to bring up on a few occasions.
But I thought, no, today is not exactly that. But for like 48 and a half years, I thought it was orangutan. I used to say orangutan.
Yeah, that's probably how I would have just said it.
But it's orangutan, apparently.
Well, they were beautiful and looking like tremendous athletes in there, and Rosie was obsessed. But yeah, we left the zoo about 1, and sure enough, dialed you guys up, and it was a fun, not super, changing for the leads, but that was a pretty exciting race.
I've always wondered this. So, and maybe I shouldn't bring this up since we are working for the radio station in which it airs. So I hope the answer is yes. But can you follow what's going on by listening to a race?
Yeah.
Because sometimes when I'm just out in the turn, like, I know this will shock you, I get to daydreaming and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like who's in the lead and what's going on? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, IndyCar and golf are kind of similar to me. And like when you're broadcasting it, it can be difficult to follow. But I'd say the same thing for TV. I mean, there are times on TV where I'm like, where's Jack Harvey at? Where's,
right.
Simon Pagenaud at? I feel like I haven't seen them in a while, but you guys painted a great picture pre-race. Charlotte's Web, I enjoyed the explanation. Nick Yeoman did a great job kind of setting up what the course was like and everything. And Pato O'Ward gets the win to start the month of May. And, of course, we'll have a whole lot IMS stuff. You get started tonight, correct? With Beyond the Bricks?
Correct. Thank you. 8 o'clock tonight, Mike Thompson and I. Actually, today in the first episode, I hate to say this because Beyond the Bricks, for those that don't know, we come on after Trackside in the month of May. Mike Thompson he worked with Donald for a very long time. He is basically an audio archivist, if that's the word. What's the word I'm looking for there? He has a large...
Historian?
Well, he would not say historian because Donald is the historian.
Got it.
But he has archived basically every audio clip that there has been of IMS between radio interviews and, I mean, it's unbelievable. You name the driver and he's like, oh, I've got an interview he did in 1974, on WIBC on a Tuesday night. It's like, holy cow. But Mike does, and he is a historian. I mean, truthfully, he knows the Speedway as well as anyone not named Donald Davidson. So we do an hour each night. Tonight's episode, and I hope people don't see this as somber, but Sid Collins, who was the original chief announcer of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Radio Network, he is the creator of Now Stay Tuned for the Greatest Spectacle in Racing. He was the chief announcer from 1952 to 1977. Sid Collins passed away 45 years ago today. So for tonight's episode, we just take a look back at the life and career of Sid Collins, including the passing of the torch from Sid to Paul Page. We have audio of Sid's, what at the time we didn't know, but the sign-off of his final race, the intro of Paul Page's first race, talking about the loss of Sid 3 weeks earlier. So we go through all of that tonight. Then each night, 8 to 9, and then also each day on the website, 1075thefan.com, I'm doing just a short little profile on every driver in the field, all what ultimately, hopefully, will be 33 drivers. And this is not like a breakdown for the racing enthusiast on necessarily the driving career of each driver, but just a little about who they are as people, so that if you're not a huge race fan, you can read it and go, hey, you know what? I like that guy. That's who I'm going to root for. I can relate to that. So today's is Alex Palou. Alex Palou's is featured. Will be up on the website later today.
So that's every day in May, right?
Every day in
Trackside
May.
and Beyond the Bricks.
Correct.
Along with what you're doing on the
Correct.
website.
Every weekday in May for the radio, yeah.
So, 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. 7 o'clock Trackside, Beyond the Bricks, 8 o'clock. As Jake said, he's busy on the website written-wise. I was busy over the weekend on the website written-wise as well.
You nailed the first-round pick for the Colts.
Individual Pierce?
Yes. I mean, you said when they made that pick, I was doing an event at the Mucky Duck. Thank you to Miller Lite for giving out. We were giving out tickets for the IndyCar Grand Prix in the Miller Lite party deck. So they had the draft on, and they drafted. Of course, the Colts traded down. 53, I think, is where they ended up, right?
Yeah, 42 to 53.
And so, look, I was wrong. I really thought if Desmond Ridder was on the clock, they were going to take him. I really did. But you kept saying, yeah, I think they were going down to Cincinnati to see somebody else. And I think you were right.
Yeah, that private workout with Alec Pierce and Desmond Ridder. Actually, another guy, Michael Young, not the radio announcer Michael Young, but a wide receiver from Cincinnati who also was at that workout, transferred from Notre Dame. They signed as an undrafted free agent. So Reggie Wayne, very impressed by what he saw from Alec Pierce. We'll get into all of these picks individually. Jake, the scenario that we put together, I think it was like last Wednesday or Thursday, it was the trade back scenario. And we mentioned how Chris Ballard entered this draft with the least and worst amount of draft capital in his tenure, which led me to think a trade back is very likely. And sure enough, he trades back, 10 or 11 spots, and then boom, you are able to cross off the three most important immediate needs. And that is what I like about this draft. We'll get into the athletic traits and all of this, and we can break down each pick. But if you're not going to address quarterback, and clearly the NFL sent a message with this quarterback class, in how far Desmond Ridder fell, how far Malik Willis fell, Sam Howell, all of these other guys. If you're not going that path to address that position, then to me, the support of Matt Ryan needed to be there. And how quickly will he feel that support remains to be seen. But the fact that you're able to go wide out, check, tight end, check, and then left tackle, check, and do that on day 2 when you added that extra pick, and actually they traded up back into round 3, and we'll talk about Nick Cross, the safety out of Maryland as well. That, to me, is what stands out the most about this draft class. Is it had a very immediate need feel to it, and I think that is huge if you're looking right here in the here and now of helping Matt Ryan in 2022.
I was curious that they took 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
Because I guess tight end is a position that you might as well have as many healthy bodies as you can, especially in today's world of tight end, because you kind of have various uses for tight end. Typically, Kevin, you tell me, but I would think how many tight ends on a given Sunday do most teams carry?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say probably 3.
I was going to say 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So right now they have at least, 4?
Yeah, I would say 4. I mean,
and I would say, am I going to sit here and tell you that I can tell you the ins and outs of Andrew Ogletree? No. But he's big, 6'5". I mean, kind of a big target, but he's a 6th-round pick. So he would be probably the one with the slimmest odds. But then again, but you have 2. Mo Alley Cox is the one that, they've invested in him, but you have the best idea of what he brings to the table. Look, for me, and I know this is not a popular opinion, but, and you tell me if you agree or disagree with this, Kevin. Immediately people say, so what do you think of the Colts draft class? I don't think, in terms of the positions, to your point, that they needed, they seemed to have addressed those, or attempted to address those. They attempted to address those.
With somewhat quality picks.
Do I know, or does anybody know how each player is going to pan out? You have no idea, honestly. You can look at, on paper, all of the intangibles, and you can look at what they bring to the table, and yes, it appears as though they increased. The one thing I will say about the Colts can sit there and tell us that things that people had concerns about were not concerns, but when you go out and address exactly that, then in fact what you're saying is, you know what, those actually were concerns, we just didn't want to admit it. Overall, just athleticism and speed were areas that it felt like the Colts were lagging a little bit. And on paper, it appears they address those things. Now, does that translate? There's no way. They're literally, I thought Roy Hall was going to be a great player. I thought Mike Doss was going to be a long-time pillar. I didn't know anything about Gary Brackett. I had no idea how good, insert name of, Ryan Deem was going to be. I'm not an expert in that regard, but it appears on paper as though they addressed the needs that most people felt they needed to address, quite frankly.
Yeah, and again, that's what stands out to me the most. I know a lot of people will point to bigger, stronger, faster, and they certainly, from a measuring, testing standpoint, the Chris Ballard MO continues to be there. They want traits. And their big kind of drafting, scouting philosophy is this. We're going to find the best athletes possible that certainly have some football production, but if you look at really any of the first 3 picks, it's not like they set the world on fire in college football. There were nice moments. I remember Alec Pierce just dominating Notre Dame. And every time Desmond Ridder dropped back to pass, I thought to myself, just throw it to anybody but Pierce. Throw it to anybody but Pierce. And as a diehard Notre Dame fan, I'm saying that. He was tremendous in that game. But the trend with Chris Ballard is this. We're going to find the traitsy guy, the athletic guy, the stuff you can't teach. And then we're going to say to our coaching staff, here's the clay, you go mold it. Because whether you look at Alec Pierce as, really has only had 1 year of serious production in college football. Jelani Woods, a tight end out of Virginia, which you look at him and think, wow, him and Mo Alley Cox would start for the Pacers front line right now. Arguably the most athletic tight end that's been drafted in years. And then Bernhard Raimann, who was a former tight end, transferred over to left tackle very young in his college career, or I should say his football career, moving over from Austria. These guys are still, I think, very young and raw in their development. And again, you've given the high-end traits to your coaching staff, and now it's up to that staff, which I think was an issue in the Chuck Pagano era of, at times, Ryan Grigson missed on draft picks. And at times, I don't think the coaching staff developed some of these guys either. What Ballard has said is, here are the traits that you can't teach. Now, go put everything together to that coaching staff. Bernhard Raimann, is that how you say it? So I texted Matt Taylor last night for confirmation. Raimann.
Okay. That would make sense.
R-Y on the phonetic with that first syllable.
So Bernhard Raimann, that's the guy that I thought they were going to take first.
Well, I think some people thought he'd go round 1.
Right. And so when he was on the board, I felt like, okay. I guess you can't say I was right because I said they'd take him at 42 and they got him at 77, right?
The name is all that matters. That is a hit for me. Have you seen him, Jake? He looks like the Street Fighter character, or one of the Street Fighter characters, I should say.
Now, he's got short arms, right? Alligator arms, is that right?
Short arms, yes. I believe some draft, whatever.
That's better than Kenny Pickett, who had little hands.
Yeah, dinosaur arms, I think, is where Bernhard Raimann there. So he has started 2 years. Just a crazy story, frankly. He was a tight end, and they decided to move him to left tackle. I should say tackle, back in the spring of 2020. Well, obviously, COVID happened then. So during that time away, he put on 60 pounds. Now, I think a lot of us gained weight during COVID, Jake. I think he gained the right weight.
Right.
In going from a tight end to an offensive tackle. His parents flew in for the draft. That is the first time he had seen his parents since 2019.
Really?
Again, from Austria. Didn't start to play football until 14. Came over to the States at the age of 17. Allowed 1 sack in his 18 starts at tackle. Why he fell to the third round, and again, I know this can get a little draft nerdy, but I do believe it is those short arms. I think that's why a lot of teams felt like, could he hold up at tackle, especially left tackle. But if you look at Braden Smith, he has very similar arm length, so it worked out over there. I think the Colts feel like Ryman's going to come in here, compete with Matt Pryor, and again, I felt like not drafting tackle in recent drafts has been an issue, and so I was thrilled to see that pick for the Colts' sake. And it goes back to trading back. That was huge for this team. The fact that they moved back 11 spots, and yes, I was a Sky Moore guy with that first pick, and I did see Sky Moore went to Kansas City, which I think will be a good fit there. But the fact that you now have looked at the 3 biggest needs entering the draft, wide out, tight end, left tackle, in whatever order you want to go with, and the fact that they spent their first 3 picks there, I think is a very smart move.
One of the things that is interesting to me, Kevin, is the number of players in the NFL draft, including if you look at the Colts draft class of 2022. And I can't emphasize this enough. Parents out there, if you have an adolescent boy or girl playing sports, and they are 9 years old, 12 years old right now, and you're like, oh, they're really gifted in blank sport. Look at the number of players drafted in this year's NFL draft class that football wasn't even their primary sport. Or, in addition to that, once they began playing football, look at the number of players that were drafted for a position that wasn't even their original intended primary position in football.
Well, especially the Colts.
Right.
So the Colts' first 3 picks, Jake, all 3 of them played a different position to start their college careers.
Correct.
And I would say 2 of them played very drastic different spots. Alec Pierce was a defender originally at Cincinnati. There was thought of safety. There was thought of linebacker with him. Jelani Woods, the tight end,
was a quarterback, wasn't he?
Was a quarterback originally at Oklahoma State and transferred to Virginia. And then Raimann was a tight end, of course. So we'll break down each of these picks on an individual basis. You see David Bell to Cleveland?
I did see that. I thought for sure he was going to Denver. I had nothing to base that on. I just felt like he was going to Denver.
Orange AFC team that made a quarterback change.
I got that right?
Maybe off the field, we look at Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson in different lights.
By the way, did I miss this? Is Baker Mayfield still a Brown?
Yeah, we didn't see any quarterback movement, right? Over the weekend? I think that's a good fit for Bell.
No, I'd agree.
I think he's got some AFC North toughness to him. And let's be honest, look at some of the wideouts Deshaun Watson had in Houston. I mean, yes, he had Hopkins, but sometimes you were like, wait, what? Kiki Kuti?
He made him a star, right?
So we'll see how David Bell does there. Joel Erickson, again, from the Stars, going to join us at 8 o'clock. We come back here in the 7 o'clock hour. We'll start breaking down the picks, looking individually, especially at the first 4 picks. On day 2, the Colts spent a second rounder on Alec Pierce and then 3 picks in the third round. Tight end Jelani Woods, offensive tackle Bernhard Raimann, and safety Nick Cross. We'll do that. We come back here, Kevin and Query, on a gorgeous Monday to start the month of May.
The Ride with JMV.
Tony Pauline, what do you think about David Bell?
I think when you're running in the 4.6s and you don't have a very extensive route tree, it doesn't mean that you won't be a good NFL player. It just means that you're not going to be a big priority. You're not a hot commodity come draft day. And I think David Bell is going to have to do it the hard way, especially when you look at this year's draft.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You need a lawn care pro and a pest control pro. You can have both in one guy. DoMyOwn.com will help you get there with pro products, pro knowledge, and pro support. DoMyOwn.com for the pro in you.
Hey, it's JMV for CarX. Tires, brakes, coolant exchanges, spring road readiness with 14 central Indiana locations. To find the one nearest you, that's CarX.com today.
Imagine a life without the credit cards. Pay off your debt in 21 days or less with a simple cash-out refinance today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
My mom's the bomb. Her hugs are so good, there's a wait list. Her laughter is the life of the party. Her smile makes everyone smile. Everything worth knowing, I learned from her. That's why this Mother's Day, I'm heading to Helzberg Diamonds. They have beautiful diamond pendants, gemstone rings, and more. Helzberg makes it easy to find a gift she'll love. One that hopefully she'll pass down to me one day, along with her secret to perfect hugs. Save big on mom-worthy gifts at a Helzberg store near you or at Helzberg.com. Hurry, Mother's Day is Sunday, May 8th.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program, featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today to get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all. Your neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
It's a 2-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with a Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Wow, I've got a whole 5 minutes before my next call. What should I do? Grab a snack? Nah. Text with mom? That's more than a 5-minute proposition. I have been looking at getting a new bank account. Is that even possible?
Can't believe you have extra time? You won't believe what you can do with it. Open a Regions checking account online in as little as 5 minutes. Then enjoy award-winning service and banking tools and tech that help you live in the moment. Learn more at regions.com/live-in-the-moment. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
The Morning Checkdown. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
So we were talking a lot of NFL drafts, so perhaps we should mention the NBA playoffs. How about Milwaukee? 101-89 over Boston in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference. I got to think here. I almost said finals. Semifinals. Bucks lead 1-0. What did we say? Drew Holiday was going to be big? 25 for Drew Holiday. Giannis with 24 and 13.
Boy, and their bench, too, without Chris Middleton, really stepped up. That's an impressive road victory. The second game yesterday, another impressive road victory. Boy, that series, Golden State and Memphis, I hope it goes 6 or 7 because I love watching the Grizz play. Klay Thompson's 3, the eventual game winner there, 117-116. Ja Morant got a decent look, similar to kind of his game winner, a little bit more off balance, but similar to his game winner in the previous series against Minnesota. So Golden State takes a 1-0 lead there. Jake, did you see the stat? Jordan Poole, Ja Morant, and Jaren Jackson Jr. all over 30 points yesterday. First time in NBA history, 3 guys under the age of 22 do that in a playoff game.
It's pretty promising for their future, is it not?
Yeah, if you're a Memphis fan or even a Golden State fan.
Real promising future for the Cincinnati Redlegs. Losers yesterday to the Rockies 10-1. This means the Reds, because I'm saying go for it. I mean, if you can go, this would be unbelievable. I want a 20, is it fewer or less than? I always forget. I want under 25 wins. Go for broke here.
Jake, I think in the month of April, I probably filled up my gas tank more than the Reds won a baseball game.
And you're not exactly driving laps around 465.
No, not at all.
And you don't drive like a Hummer, right?
No, 15-minute commute for the old Honda Civic back and forth. Yeah. 3 wins in the month of the month of April for the Reds.
Don't look now, but here come the Redlegs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Cubs 2 over the Brewers. They're 9-13 on the year. Cardinals 12-9 on the year. They 7-5. Winners yesterday. Tigers lose. They're 7-14. The White Sox are at 8-13.
So every team in the Midwest sucks. Is that what we're getting at?
Every team but St. Louis, which is pretty much par for the course with how Major League Baseball is.
By the way, the Indianapolis Indians did win 3-1. They snapped a 3-game losing skid.
We'll get more into the draft picks. Here was Chris Ballard over the weekend on the Colts and their needs entering that 2022 draft.
I think we needed an influx of youth.
we're young. I tell you, we're still pretty young, but it's the group from 18. Now they're 4 years in the league, and we, one of our big objectives was we wanted to add as many good young talented players as we could to create as much competition as we could. Look, we all know what makes people better, having to compete, and we think we've added some guys that's going to push that competition to the level, to another level.
If you were a current Colts player, give me a player that this year's draft class would make you the most concerned.
Yeah, Kari Willis. For sure. The fact that they traded up for Nick Cross in the third round, we'll get more into that here in just a few minutes, but I would say safety-wise, definitely Kari Willis, maybe Julian Blackmon, but I'll go Willis. Jake Potto Award, winner in Barber yesterday, holds off Alex Palou there. Any other big takeaways for you? Graham Rahal and Romain Grosjean late in the race certainly had some pleasantries.
Rahal was not pleased. I think Graham has a really good, really fair beef here. Look, Romain Grosjean's a talented guy. He's a likable guy. But in the race car, man, yesterday in particular, there was a case where he was running side by side with Graham, and it was just drift up 1, 2, 3 times making contact. What are you doing? I don't know if he was just having a brain fade or if that's perhaps in Formula One more. I don't know. But Graham Rahal was not pleased with it. It
was one of the more wilder scenes I've seen in an IndyCar race. It was like, hey, ref, did you not see the foul the first time? You're going to see it the second time.
It was crazy. Graham's quote afterwards on IndyCar radio was, this guy's overstayed his welcome. Grosjean's a likable personality, but Graham had a very legitimate point in being unhappy with that. Rinus VeeKay had a great car and was really good throughout the course of the race. It looked like his day. Last pit stop, he and Pato O'Ward basically came out of the pits, VeeKay in front, and Pato decided to go for it before there was enough heat in his tires faster than did VeeKay, and it paid off for him. He made the pass, and he got the win.
We're going to have Elio Castroneves on tomorrow as we start more of our month of May conversation. I'll have Elio on a couple times here in the month of May. We come back on Kevin and Query again, a beautiful Monday morning, I should say.
Can we play safety dance since the Colts are going to start a safety dance?
In Indianapolis.
I think we should bounce back with that. Mark, cue up safety dance.
The first 4 picks of the Colts, and we do that next here. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Seven days to go on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
The Fed has raised rates, but it's not too late for you.
There's still time to put extra cash in your pocket with a cash-out refinance from Golden Oak Lending.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak, and I urge you to call now. With home values at all-time highs and Golden Oak Lending's low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get a free mortgage checkup and find out how much cash you can get. It's more than you think. Our average cash-out customer saves $904 a month.
That's right. Plus, Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available, and you can skip 2 mortgage payments.
It's risk-free, and our local loan officers will get you qualified in minutes. We'll never ask for your credit card, and if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge. Call 317-706-GOLD today. That's 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
The playoffs are into the second round, and you can make every game feel like Game 7 on FanDuel Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Throughout the playoffs, all customers can place a no-sweat, same-game parlay each week, and you'll get up to $20 in free bets if you don't win. FanDuel has so many ways to play, and best of all, when you do win, you'll get paid faster than a fast break. If you're new to FanDuel, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app or sign up using promo code MARK to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Once again, that's promo code MARK, M-A-R-C, and while you're there, check out their everyday odds boosts and promotions. The app is safe, secure, and easy to use, and when you win, you get paid quick. If you already have an account, you are already set to go, no sweat. Don't worry about it. You're all set to go. Either way, you'll get up to $20 in free bets if your same-game parlay during the playoffs doesn't win. FanDuel Sportsbook, an official partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in Indiana. Refund issued is now a drawable free bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $20 per week. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Well, Jake and I are both kind of feeling it a little bit physically this morning, and that means our friends at QC Kinetics could be getting a call. Summer right around the corner. You don't want to go with another summer dealing with joint pain, and you can correct that by calling QC Kinetics. If you got pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, you can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics. We're talking growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. And they've got locations right here in Eagle Creek and Greenwood to help you out today. You can take action now and get a free consultation. Powerful, effective joint pain treatments with natural biologics. So call QC Kinetics now, 463-235-7160. Again, locations in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. That's 463-235-7160.
Imagine a life without the credit cards. A life where you don't have to worry about when you get paid next. Now imagine not stressing about getting through the month, having real cash in the bank, and being able to take your family on that much-needed dream vacation. Home values are at an all-time high, and our average client received over $54,000 at closing. Pay off your debt in 21 days or less and apply for your simple cash-out refinance today at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Whether you are a high handicapper or regularly break par, having properly fit golf clubs is vital. For a premium custom fitting that will lower your scores, see the experts at Golf Performance Academy, located at Golf Club of Indiana. They offer many top brands, including Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Payne, Cobra, and Mizuno. And they are the home for Titleist Thursdays and the new hub for PXG fittings in the Indy area. For more information, go to golfindiana.com or call 317-769-6388.
Hey, it's JMV. Ray's Trash Services, the largest independent recycling and waste solutions provider in the Indianapolis area, and right now, they're looking for great people to join the team. Ray's is a family-operated business and has been providing Central Indiana with industry-leading recycling and waste disposal solutions since 1965. They focus a lot on the culture to make it a great place to work. Go to raystrash.com to see the career opportunities waiting for you. That's raystrash.com today. Ray's, your recycling and waste solutions partner.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Safety, dance.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
If we want to, we can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance,
This song was all the rage back in. By the way, it is National Teachers Week, Kevin, as I was thinking about elementary school with this song.
Love that.
Your parents are teachers, right?
Correct. Yes. I do feel like, and not to get down a rabbit hole, we should focus on the draft here, but if there's been industries that I think even have greater appreciation than they should have had over the last couple of years, I would say teaching would be near or atop that list with what parents have had to go through the last couple of years.
It's sad, man. People are gonna run teachers away. They're gonna run them off.
And you've got teachers in your family too, right?
My entire, my sister Juge is a teacher at Lawrence Central. My sister Megan works at Allisonville Elementary School. My mom was a preschool teacher. I could still rattle off every teacher I had in elementary school. They were that impactful to me.
Oh, I could probably do the same. Yeah. Wayne
You-
Township for
How
my
would
dad.
you know the teachers I had in elementary school?
Well, talking about myself, Cherry Tree Elementary and Clay Junior High.
In talking about the safety dance, I mentioned that only because you were saying, Kari Willis perhaps looks at it with one eye, kind of looking at the draft like, wait a minute. The Colts really must have liked Nick Cross out of Maryland. His athleticism and range appear to be what jump out, right?
Yeah, and I guess let's take a look at these day 2 picks, Jake. And let's start with Cross because of the 4 of them, it was easily the most surprising because of how he was acquired. I'm sitting there late Friday night at the complex thinking, okay, Colts work is done for the night. They've got a 4th-round pick in the middle of the 4th round. And all of a sudden, someone alerts me of like, hey, man, the Colts could be trading up. I'm like, what? Like, the Colts never trade up. And this was not just a trade up of like 3 spots for Jonathan Taylor or, 5 or 10 spots somewhere else. This was they gave up their 3rd-round pick coming up next year to get back into the 3rd round for Nick Cross. The thought process here is this. He's 20 years old. The Colts actually drafted several older prospects, like 24-ish years old. Nick Cross is 20 years old, came out early from Maryland, and the thinking there is, where would Nick Cross go in the 2023 NFL draft? And the Colts believe he would have been a 2nd-round pick in next year's draft. So the thinking is, all right, if we can get him, theoretically a round later than what we would have to do next year, he's worth trading up for and making that selection. So that is the process, or kind of the thought process with that. 6'1", 212, ran the fastest 40 of any safety at the combine. But like I said in the opening segment, Jake, if I'm Kari Willis or Julian Blackmon and I was enjoying my Friday night, this was a whoa. We talked about it last week. I thought linebacker could have been the positions where we saw this bit of passing of the torch. If they draft a linebacker early, if I'm Bobby Okereke, that's probably not good news. Well, the same could apply here at safety. The fact that they spent, and not just spent a 3rd-round pick, again, traded up for that 3rd-round pick. Kari Willis has battled some injuries. Julian Blackmon has suffered 2 very serious injuries in the last 3 years. This is the pick that probably caught my eye the most, given what it was very anti-Chris Ballard. So that means the Colts love him.
Okay. Would you consider this a project at all? Because we've been down this road. TJ Green? Remember, he's
right.
He's young and he's super athletic, and he came out early at Clemson, and it just never panned out, right?
He's a guy you want coming off the bus first with
Correct.
with how he looks. I don't think it's there. I think Cross did a little bit more at Maryland than TJ Green did at Clemson. Having said that, does Nick Cross play year 1? I don't know if that's the case. You signed Rodney McLeod that has over 120 career starts. Yes, Julian Blackmon's coming back from the torn Achilles, but it seems like when he is healthy, McLeod, Blackmon, and Willis would be your 3 safeties there. To me, this is more of a, he would need an injury, I think, to really impact as a rookie, and probably is more of a special teamer in year 1.
Again, I go back to, on paper, it looks like they had a really good draft. But you just never know. And, Kevin, I don't know what it is. Sometimes maybe it's just luck on when guy. Let me tell you the one thing about the draft in the NFL or the NBA that you can absolutely not predict. And I don't know, you could probably try every Freudian aspect, every personality test, every background check, everything, and just not know how to predict the following. Like, there have been guys of my ilk, my era, that I knew growing up that got into the NBA, and as soon as they got that first check, it was over. Not because they were like wanting to live like this extravagant lifestyle, but more so just, man, I put in so much sacrifice, so much work ethic, so many morning workouts to get to this point. And now here it is. I've got this check. I just bought my mom a house. I don't want to have to go through all that for another 5 years. And that's the one thing you can't predict. Of the guys that were just drafted, the odds are that you're going to have like one or two of them that they have reached the maximum threshold of the amount they want to put in. I'm not saying that as a knock on any of these guys. I'm saying statistically speaking, you just never know where it's going to be, right?
And again, to that point, Jake, and I know you've been a little bit skeptical of like anytime, a GM preaches high character, this and that. I think that is a reason why Ballard, and I'm sure Kevin Pritchard the same way, are so focused on making sure that the character tries to meet the highest standard possible. Yes, if you're not tall enough and you can't run fast enough, they ain't drafting you. Those prerequisites outweigh character. But character is very high up there for the Colts because it's, all right, your traits provide a floor, your character provides the ceiling. That's how they look at it of, if you have higher character, you're more willing to work. You're more willing to get to that second contract. You're more willing to do the individual sacrifices. And when adversity hits, I think back to Nyheim Hines so much. Remember Nyheim Hines' first preseason, Jake? You and I could have fielded a punt better than Nyheim Hines. Like he couldn't hold on to the ball. It was, is this guy going to get cut? But adversity hit him in the face. He overcame that. And I think the Colts would point to that is a guy that has a high amount of individual character, and where some would have wilted, and you can point to other draft picks, TJ Green probably being one of them, honestly, that wilted when some adversity hit. This guy and that character is able to battle through that. Let's go to the first pick, and that would be Alec Pierce. I don't know how much Cincinnati you watched this year, Jake. I found myself watching them a good amount just because they played Indiana. They played Notre Dame.
Right.
Obviously, they're in the college football.
One of the big stories in college football.
Semifinalists. Yeah, definitely. And whether it was Indiana, I remember watching the Indiana game. And again, I'm a diehard Notre Dame football fan. So I'm watching the Indiana game much in a more casual sense. And Pierce is making these catches late in the game. And I'm thinking myself watching it being like, oh, God, that dude's going to cause some fits against Notre Dame. And sure enough, the very next week, he's got 140 yards against Notre Dame, and it was a huge reason why Cincinnati walked into Notre Dame Stadium and really controlled the game for 3 quarters.
When you say he's making some catches, would you say it was more often holy cow, this guy can contort his body and turn around and catch over the shoulder with amazing hands catches, or B, holy cow, this guy has the combination of precision route running and speed that he is wide open and making catches as a result?
Definitely A. I mean, he's got a volleyball background, Jake. And I mean, think about what makes like elite volleyball players. The ability to kind of high point, the ability to have obviously tremendous hand-eye coordination. Like when I watched Pierce, it would be like he would find the ball earlier than everybody, and then just his natural athleticism would take over. And again, safety, linebacker background. He comes from a family loaded with Division I athletes. Both his parents, Division I athletes. His brother played basketball at North Carolina, and his other brother is going to go play at Princeton. So this is a very athletic family. The thing about Pierce that is the question, I think, is just the route running, to your other point, Jake, and where I think the Colts believe they can grow that, and it makes sense. What was Reggie Wayne's greatest strength?
Well, I mean, Reggie Wayne had unbelievable hands, but he extended his career because of his route running, in my opinion. Right.
Yeah, I would agree. So I think that is where they feel like they can develop Pierce. Again, 6'3", over 200 pounds, ran 4.4 in the 40. But I would say it's, and this is going to scare some Colts fans, but you know who he reminds me of watching him? And this is from a Colts sense. He reminds me of Dante Moncrief coming out. Like 6'3" guy that goes up, climbs a ladder, and makes those plays. He compares himself to A.J. Green. I'm sure there's a little bit of Cincinnati aspect to that. And hopefully we'll have Luke Fickell on tomorrow to talk more about Alec Pierce. But, man, it got to the point late in that Notre Dame game where Desmond Ridder would drop back, and I'd be like, throw it to anybody but 12. Please throw it to anybody but number 12. I assume he won't wear 12 here, right?
Do you want him to play the life of his contract?
Well, Luck did get to a second contract.
True. The other thing, I mentioned it earlier, Kev, but I want to go back to this. I think people, and I understand it, one of the things that has always been the most fun to me in interviewing athletes, and people think it's the dumbest question that I ask, and I ask a lot of dumb questions, but I will interview professional athletes and ask them, what was your favorite sport growing up? And people are like, this guy doing this radio show is a moron. He's interviewing an NFL player and asking what their favorite sport is. Do you know how often people say the sport they're getting paid to play? Like 20% of the time. I'm not kidding you. More often than not, when you ask a player that, they'll say, oh, actually, I loved soccer. I loved baseball. I loved football. Every sport offers a different skill set that you have to work on. In soccer, obviously, it's your footwork. In baseball, it's your hand-eye coordination. Basketball, probably a little of both of those things. Football, it's your upper body strength. And so the NFL draft, if you look at this year's players, and I know that I'm repeating what I said earlier, but I can't emphasize it enough. I don't have kids, admittedly. I'm not a parent. But I see a lot of parents that overemphasize their child in one sport at a young age when they get to that fork in the road of like middle school, and they're like, oh, you're going to be a baseball player, you're going to be a tennis player, and that's it.
I'm Richard Williams, I'm Earl Woods.
Right. And what you do is twofold in 99.9% of cases. A, you burn your kid out, and B, you deny them the opportunity, even at a small scale, to balance their bodies and their minds' ability to come up with different craft of a sport that pays dividends within the sport that they turn out to have the most natural skill set. And if you look at, like you talked about, Pearson volleyball and, the different guys that they've drafted.
Woods was a quarterback. Even the position switches,
Correct. Because you learn your body physically and mentally is prepared for any position or any situation that is thrown your way.
Why is Anthony Davis so skilled? He was a guard until his junior year of high school, something like that. And again, this goes back to the Colts' line of thinking with this draft class. They have bet on athleticism probably more than college production. That's a very fair statement to make.
Do you think he emphasized Chris Ballard athleticism and speed this year more than years past?
He always emphasizes it, but Jake, I that was the first question I asked him on Friday. I was like, you're doing this even more. Like, this is at a higher level, and he really didn't have a specific reason why, but I do think they have really, really bet on those traits even more so than they have in the past. And to your point, Alec Pierce, the volleyball background, I really like the fact that he was such a defensive guy in his background. Again, we'll hopefully have Luke Fickell on tomorrow, but Fickell told a story about how, he's like, dude, let's move this guy to linebacker. He is so tough, and you don't say that about a lot of wideouts. Jake, you talked about all last week. That's the diva position.
Yeah.
That's the pretty boy position. Pierce, looks like someone you would love to, date your daughter, but I think there's a toughness to him that you like. Jelani Woods, again, the former quarterback. Think about a footwork for a quarterback in the pocket. They feel like that can help him as he transitions to tight end more. And then Bernhard Raimann, there's a lot of Joe Wrights to him. And the former tight end, gaining all this weight, both went to, directional Michigan schools as well. So I think that's what they like with Raimann. I know some fans have asked me about that With the Next Pick series. It's kind of the behind the scenes little Hard Knocks version the Colts do, and featuring the draft. There was a clip from one of the earlier episodes where one of their scouts is like, you don't see a player that big be that good. And obviously they don't tell you at the time who that player was. That player was Jelani Woods, the tight end out of Virginia who they took in the 3rd round. Jake, when we did the trade back scenario, Jelani Woods was one of the guys we had them trading back for in getting at tight end. 6'7", 250. He really looks like Mo Alley Cox. And they feel like he can run better.
He's my new favorite player,
than
by the
Mo
way.
Alley Cox.
He just looks like a cool guy. He's my new favorite player. I love guys that just look cool, and Tony Hugo looked cool in the uniform.
Should we try and get him on this week, you think?
Yes.
I thought your favorite guy would be the Austrian guy.
No, Jelani. Do you know the native language of Austria?
Boy, I can't say I do.
The primary language, like the national language of Austria. Mark?
I don't know where you're going with this.
No, I'm being totally serious.
Are we over, Mark? Should we hit a break?
I'm being totally serious.
Joel Erickson's coming up in 5 minutes.
All right, I'll tell you in 5.
No.
No, that's a tease. That's a tease. You got to stick around.
If you ask Joel Erickson that question.
Gosh. Okay, I will.
Jake Query, Kevin Bowen, Mark Dykton on a beautiful Monday morning.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Seth Greenberg, I haven't seen one single guy on one single billboard, but I'm hearing everybody's getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. That's not name, image, and likeness. That's just paying folk.
The concept of name, image, and likeness makes sense. The idea of what they've done now is basically find a gray area. People are just going and buying players. We've gone 0 to warp speed legitimately in 6 months.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Armor Air is more than a heating and cooling company. They cover it all. Their service fee is only $29. ArmorAir.com. Day or night, they do what's right.
Skip the long lines and high cost at the banks and get pre-approved today for your next home purchase or a refinance at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Hey, it's Query. You know, I actually told Mark and Kevin on Friday. You folks might have heard me talking about it. It's finals week for those of us taking classes in college, which I am, Indiana University Online. In 2 of my classes, I had a final project due, and I was locked in at no worse than a B, straddling between an A and the B in the classes. And I thought, it's the month of May. I'm slammed. Do I do the projects or do I just take the B and walk? I ended up deciding that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do them because I figured if I am talking to you folks about going back to school, then I should be able to be diligent in the exact same thing. And I've truly enjoyed it. I would love for you folks to join me as well. And Next Level Jobs has the roadmap for you if you'd like to get back into school. Next Level Jobs provides Hoosiers with free training in high-growth, in-demand job fields like manufacturing, building and construction, health and life sciences, IT and business services. I mean, have you ever worked a job where they're not talking about how they need more people within IT? And as little as 150 hours, you can be certified in coding, electrical, mechanical maintenance, all of those areas for advancing yourself throughout your career or just in life in general. Or if you're like one of the 700,000 Hoosiers who, like me, had college credits sitting out there that you thought to yourself, I think those expired. They don't. I would love for you folks to join me in getting back to school, getting that training, getting that certification, or simply getting the advancement in education to free yourself up and help you out with that next job. Maybe you're doing it for yourself or just to help out your family. No matter what reason it might be, I would love for you to take the step with me. Visit nextleveljobs.org for more information and on how to apply for the potential of tuition-free programs that can take place throughout the state of Indiana.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle squeals or grinds when you slow down or just isn't stopping like it used to, you may need new brake rotors and pads. Now through May 24th at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 15% off a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Restore safe braking and save money now at O'Reilly Auto Parts or order online at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Business owners, are you feeling boxed in by the pressures of running your business? Remote workforces, HR compliance, retaining top talent. The list goes on. Fortunately, there's Insperity. They put 30-plus years of HR experience to work, offering your employees competitive benefit options while lightening your HR load. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Full-service HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity. HR that makes a difference.
You found the one? Now find the ring. Come to Shane Company.
Our team of jewelry consultants will do whatever it takes to help you find the perfect engagement ring. Not only are we knowledgeable about diamonds and sapphires, ring settings, and financing options, but we're problem solvers too. Just the other day, a guy came in who wanted to surprise his girlfriend with a spectacular engagement ring, but he wasn't certain what style she would like. So we came up with a great solution. Get a classic solitaire diamond ring for the proposal, then set up an appointment to come back as a couple and create her dream ring. He did just that. He selected a 1 1/4 carat oval diamond and had it set in a solitaire ring setting. Then, after the proposal, he and his fiancée came back together and swapped it for a pave ring setting and added a halo decorative crown to give it even more sparkle. When she put it on, she was beaming. He pulled off an amazing proposal, and she got the ring of her dreams.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
There's never been a better time to find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Download the BetMGM app and place a $10 moneyline wager on any Stanley Cup playoffs game. If either team scores a goal in the game, you'll win $200 in free bets. Just use the bonus code THEFAN200, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet. Sign up now and discover BetMGM's daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and more. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com, and again, use that bonus code THEFAN200 to win $200 in free bets if either team scores a goal in any Stanley Cup playoffs game. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Hey, join me today. We're going to talk Colts, and more Colts. Obviously, Colts draft with Sean Salisbury. The great Sean Unfiltered joins. You should too. Noon to 3 today.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
So I want to make sure that I'm clear here, because I get the fact Joel Erickson's set to join us. Mark, did you just hang up on a 4-time Indy 500 winner? Is that what you just did?
Well, I've been told that Elio Castroneves is joining us tomorrow, and he just called us today.
Maybe he was just calling to give his input on the Colts draft.
He's like, I was told tomorrow too, but they told me to call. I had an alert on my phone. I was like, well, I don't know. So tomorrow at 8.
Maybe he had an opinion on Alec Pierce or Bernhard Raimann.
He might know. Bernhard Raimann is from Austria, and I was asking you guys, what's the native, like the official language of Austria? And you didn't know, and so I thought maybe you phoned a friend and you thought Elio Castroneves, because he speaks Portuguese and like Spanish and English, maybe that Castroneves would know. But I think instead you're going to have to resort to Joel Erickson as your phone a friend, right?
Well, he's very knowledgeable, so I will happily take that.
Okay,
up on that.
Joel Erickson of the Indianapolis Star joins us right now on the Payless Liquors hotline. Of course, talking about the Colts draft. Joel, I'll begin with the most burning question the entire city of Indianapolis would like to know. The Colts tackle that they have taken out of Central Michigan, Bernhard Raimann, is a native of Austria, which means that his native tongue is what language?
German?
German is correct. Ring it up.
Joel Eric, exactly the question he thought he'd be asked to start off this Monday morning interview, right, Joel?
I don't know what we're yelling about.
I'm just telling you.
Now, is it Bernhard or Bernard?
I believe it's Bernard.
Okay. Someone was asking me, is it like the golfer, Bernhard Langer? Again, exactly what I'm sure our listeners want to be hearing about on this Monday morning. Joel Erickson from the Star, who I saw a lot of over the last 72 hours this weekend. Joel, I want to throw the first question at you that Jake tossed my way a few minutes ago. To me, Chris Ballard has always put an emphasis on athletic testing traits. To me, this class seems it goes above and beyond that. Do you think there's any reason for that they're even like more all in on a philosophy that they've always had?
I just keep thinking back to like the with the first pick or with the next pick or whatever they do that on the Colts thing. He was talking about traits really early on in like the first episode. Like one of the first things, it looks like he's like telling them like what they're going for, and he's talking about elite traits. So I've been trying to figure out why they would dial even more into that than they have been, because they've been one of the most, if you go by relative athletic score, which is a way to sort of combine all of the height, weight, speed, all that stuff into it. They've been one of the teams that have drafted the most athletic players over the last 4 or 5 years. But it did seem like they dialed in. I don't know exactly why, other than what Ballard said, which is just he thinks that your odds are better if you have a guy like that.
Do you think, Joel, there were any areas, any player picks where they took a reach? Because or was every pick kind of the safe? The one thing I'll say about Ballard is sometimes I think that we as the media expect him to be speaking in tongue when in fact he's pretty straightforward. And I feel like this draft was pretty straightforward. Look, we're not getting cutesy here. We're taking these players because these are our areas of need.
Well, I thought, like, going into the draft, I kept saying they're going to take a wide receiver first because he always hits the need first. And then the second pick is usually the one that throws us for a loop, or at least from a positional standpoint. And this draft wasn't like that at all. It was 3 big needs, 3 picks right off the bat. In terms of reaching and stuff like that, I don't think so. Based on like the mocks and everything I saw, sometimes it's hard to tell, how much those things know. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Normally there's a curveball or so from a positional standpoint, and there wasn't this year. 3 picks, 3 big needs, and I think most people thought safety was a possible need with the 4th pick too, just because they've only got one of those guys under contract beyond next year.
Yeah, I'd say none of the 4 picks were reaches, and I say that in quotes when you compare them to where I think a lot of people thought they would go. Joel Erickson is with us. Joel A. Erickson from the Indianapolis Star here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Joel, I always do this after the draft and start thinking immediately about, okay, which of these rookies are going to play a lot early? Alec Pierce, pretty obvious. Bernhard Raimann, he could win a starting job, but Matt Pryor and Danny Pinter right now I'd say are the favorites at left tackle and right guard, respectively. Jelani Woods rotate in as a tight end, but I don't know. Like, besides Pierce, is there any slam dunk you think for kind of obvious playing time early on?
I think Woods is definitely playing. If you go back and look at Allie Cox and Doyle, they've both played I think more than 40% of the snaps in each of the last 3 years. So I think Jelani Woods is definitely playing right away. What
about Kylan Granson?
Kylan Granson's role, at least in Frank's offense that we've seen it, is even when it's at its like the height of its powers, like Ebron in 2018, when they had Doyle on the healthy that year, and it didn't happen very often. That was the year that he got really hit hard by injury. But when they had Doyle available, Ebron was only playing like 30% of the snaps. So I think all 3 of those tight ends are definitely going to play.
Your favorite day 3 pick was who?
I think maybe the Missouri State defensive lineman.
Ooh. Is that some Missouri bias coming out of you?
No, because as a Missouri grad, I'm not supposed to acknowledge that Missouri State exists.
For me, it would be Curtis
we're supposed
Brooks.
to ignore them. Don't tell Kyle Neddenriep. That'll make him upset. But technically, we're not supposed to.
Joel, you know how you can tell when a Missouri grad is a Missouri grad?
I don't know.
Engage him in 3 seconds of conversation.
I thought that was a Syracuse joke.
It is. Well, it's true of both. Missouri for print, Syracuse for electronic media.
Why would
Joel knows it. You hear him laughing. He knows it.
He does. Why would you go with Eric Johnson there? Because for me, it'd probably be Curtis Brooks out of Cincy.
I think you could go either way with those 2 defensive tackles. I've been surprised, I think, by some of these defensive line picks where people find traits in the past. Now, even when I wasn't covering the Colts, like there was one year I was covering the Saints, and they took a 4th round. They used a 4th round pick on a defensive tackle out of Canada, and they're basically just like, he's super explosive at a big weight, and he's David Onyemata. He's been in the league as a pass rusher for them for a while now. So I kind of like it. I'm kind of intrigued by those guys who are really big and can move really fast, and Curtis Brooks can do it too. So I think both of them are really, really interesting.
You know, Kevin, do you remember going back and referencing the Colts miniseries they do, the reality deal they do with the next pick?
Yeah.
There was a clip from that where Chris Ballard was saying, like, I know there's questions about his character, but like, if he's on the board, we're going to take him. If he's on the board, who do you think that was? Joel, feel free to chime in here also. Like, who do you think that was?
I know a lot of people thought George Pickens, maybe. I don't think it was George Pickens, Joel, the wideout.
No, I don't think George Pickens was a possibility. Based on like what I found out late, I don't think George Pickens was a possibility to get picked.
Yeah.
What'd you find out late?
There.
I can't. It's too like third-handish knowledge to say, but I just, at least in terms of the details of what I heard, but I heard that there was something specific with George Pickens that would be like a no, absolutely don't.
Okay.
Do you have any guess on who that player would have been?
No, I don't. And this is where like sometimes knowing them is because I've kind of gone to the Colts before, but like, you guys are really teasing us with some of these things, and they're like, yeah, and you know what the great part is? There's like 1,000 guys in the draft that they have to talk about. So it's really, really hard for anybody to figure out exactly who it is. But yeah, I know it makes it easier because it's up by 42, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that would have been.
When you look at who the Colts drafted, Joel Erickson, Indianapolis Stars, our guest, was there any indication that they are moving in a direction different than where they've been in terms of their style of play? Or did all the draft picks seem to indicate that they simply want to improve in the way that they have gone about doing things?
I think that the picks, I think that their style of play could change, but I don't think it's in the way they want to play. I think it's some sort of in the way they've had to play. You know, they got super run heavy last year. That's not really the way Frank Reich wants to play. I think, like with Jelani Woods, there was a good example with Jelani Woods where, like, all offseason I've been asking about the tight end. Like, can you play with just one wide tight end? Can you do that? And Frank's kind of been saying, well, we'll adjust the offense. And then on Saturday, after they've picked Woods and Ogletree, Frank was like, the tight end is really central to this offense in some ways. Like, he finally just said, like, yes, I desperately needed a tight end. We just didn't have one, so I couldn't say it. And I think the same thing with Pierce. Like, they've wanted that guy to stretch the field. Paris Campbell was kind of supposed to be that guy too, for a long time, then just haven't been able to get it. So I think it's more filling in parts of the offense that they've long wanted and not been able to get.
He's Joel Erickson from the Star, and Joel, I do want to get your thoughts on T.Y. Hilton here in just a second, but sticking specifically with the draft, I felt like they went immediate need, boom, boom, boom. Those first three picks, I mean, they didn't mess around. I think those were the three biggest needs. Probably what I would have put fourth on that list, they barely addressed. Any surprises position-wise in terms of their approach with the draft?
Are you talking about cornerback?
Yeah,
Cornerback, I think, is one that I thought would have been higher on the list. One of the things I think that was surprising to me, and maybe, I guess, everyone who's, been following kind of the media guys doing the draft, is that some of the cornerbacks that we've been talking about as possibilities for the Colts fairly high because that's where they were mocked. The NFL didn't really agree with us, Tariq Woolen from UTSA and Zion McCollum, like those two guys have been talked about as third and fourth round picks for the Colts for a long time, and they went off the board in the fifth, right before the Colts picked. And so I wonder if there was a value thing. There was also, I'd have to go back and look at the corners, but like I know from talking to my buddies who cover the Saints that the Saints picked a corner in the second round that everyone was like, you could have got that guy later. And I wonder if the way everybody else saw a corner wasn't the way the NFL did. And I think that might have played a role in the Colts not doing it. But yeah, that was the fourth spot. That was the spot I was kind of expecting, more so than safety.
Joel, let me ask you this, just because you've covered different NFL teams, which I think gives you a broader perspective here. Going into the draft, I mean, I wake up on Saturday morning and I see, or Friday morning, I guess it was, and I see, hey, get ready for the quarterback run. Like, there's going to be people are trading up right now because there's going to be a run on quarterbacks. Willis and Ritter and all these guys. And then nothing. Crickets. How can people be so off? And I don't mean that as an indictment on you or me or Kevin or anybody else, but when these things happen, does it come down to one franchise goes kind of rogue and then everybody panics and follows suit? Does it turn out that this was a draft where there just weren't really that many good quarterbacks? And Malik Willis, for example, isn't really that good, but he was the tallest member of the Lollipop Guild, so therefore, he got drafted at center, even though he's not big enough to, you know what I mean? What was it that caused things in some areas to be so off in terms of the prognostication?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you're right. There was a ton of talk about everyone's going to move up from the quarterbacks. They're all going to go right in front of they're all going to go kind of in front of that 42nd pick. And then the
Colts didn't even flirt with it, right?
Yeah, no. They no one did, really. I mean, the whole league let them pass basically twice. I think everyone picked before one came out. I think what happens there sometimes is sometimes I think the sourcing isn't always team related. Sometimes the sourcing is based on what agents are hearing or thinking or whatever. And a lot of times, especially this year, one of the things that makes this quarterback class so remarkable is that everything we've known for basically going back to the E.J. Manuel draft is no matter what happens, people will move up from a quarterback whether or not they like them or not, or whether or not they think they're great or not. We'll just move up for a quarterback because we have to. And I think that probably plays into it. People start speculating and going, well, the quarterbacks have to start coming off at some point because the quarterbacks always come off. But this was clearly a different quarterback class. It was clearly a different evaluation of a quarterback class. One of the things I keep thinking about and was thinking about on Friday, I told my boss this and wrote it in one of the stories, but I went back and looked at the E.J. Manuel class and the Jim Druckenmiller class. Usually when the NFL is this out on a quarterback class, it's right. Usually the NFL isn't missing. The only one in those two that you'd have wanted on your team is Jake Plummer.
Joel Erickson from the Stars with us here. Kevin and Query on a Monday. Joel, come September, 15th. Better chance T.Y. Hilton's on the Colts or Nick Foles?
Ooh, good. Man, that's good. I'm going to give a slight edge to T.Y., but it has more to do with the fact that I thought that they were going to add a veteran quarterback all last offseason, and it never happened than anything. Because I kind of like the idea of Foles as the backup in case Matt Ryan gets hurt. We haven't seen Sam Ehlinger play meaningful snaps yet.
Do you think T.Y. is back? I don't think the draft should have done anything to change their opinion on it. I've always been of the thinking this offseason is you bring back T.Y., but you act like he's not on the roster, if that makes sense. You still address wideout in a very serious manner. But I don't know. I feel like I'm getting very mixed vibes from the Colts on T.Y. Hilton and a return.
That's sort of where I'm at, because I feel like there's a spot you could put him in, even with the receivers that they have. I mean, they lost him and Pascal from what was their top four last year. Pierce is the only one they've added. That's still a spot that you could, in theory, fill, especially with Chris Ballard saying at the Combine that as much as they love Paris, they can't necessarily count on him to be a 2 or 3 given his injury history. So I could definitely see a spot for him, especially just knowing how he settles into zones, that kind of thing. I don't know if you think of him as a vintage T.Y. role, but as a slot receiver who finds holes in places and gets open and gives Matt Ryan a security blanket, I kind of like that idea.
He just makes me sleep better at night.
I don't know. Say what?
He just would make me sleep better at night if I were Reggie Wayne or if I were Frank Reich. It just
It's a super young receiving.
Yeah, it's just a level of trust. Been there, done that. Yeah, but again, I feel like I'm getting a bit of mixed reviews from them. All right, Joel, last one. I know you've been all over this undrafted class. Nothing official yet on the undrafted free agents. We know the history here. Jack Cohn is probably the most name recognition, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. I think it's a smart move because, it'll help you hopefully evaluate the back half of your roster, which can always be an issue at times with quarterback play in the preseason. Anybody really stand out to you with that undrafted class that we should keep an eye out for?
Well, the tackle from UConn for sure, because they guaranteed $175,000.
And in layman's terms, what does that mean?
Basically, it just means like people are looking at it as like they can't cut him. That's not necessarily true. I mean, Ballard's cut like veterans who are making millions. That like the 175 would be dead cap, but that's not a big deal. What it really means is that the whole NFL wanted him, and the Colts had to do something to, win a bidding war for him. So I think that's one. And then the other one is the three running backs: Devontae Price, C.J. Verdell, and Max. I think you pronounce it Borghi. The Verdell and Price both got pretty. Price got a $75,000 guarantee, if I'm remembering it right, and Verdell got some extra money as well. But that's just an interesting spot for me, just because they like Deion Jackson. They gave him $45,000 in signing bonus last year, but to bring in a couple of different running backs there, we actually in the preseason, that's like the one position. Running back is like the one position where you can kind of get some eye-catching stuff. So we have something to watch. I mean, I don't know if the number 3 running back gets everybody else excited, but at least there's some kind of position battle where you can get a pretty good idea from the preseason games.
But if you were a free agent, I realize that you're going to go wherever somebody throws some money at you or whatever, but if you're a free agent running back that was undrafted, is Indianapolis the place you'd look at? I mean, you not like you're expecting to go somewhere and become a starter.
Oh, yeah, I think it makes sense because you just want to make the team, Jake. And after Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, no one's a lock.
Yep, what Kevin said. That 3 spot, they like Deion Jackson, but he's an undrafted guy with like 6 carries.
I guess they have had a history of probably utilizing deeper down the running back depth chart than people do, yeah.
Who's the next Jordan Wilkins? I think that's what you're looking at right now. And again, I think you're just trying to make the team as undrafted free agent, but in the back of your mind, I mean, the Colts are one, not to get too doom and gloom, but like a Jonathan Taylor injury away from being a bit desperate at the running back spot.
Yeah, no, that's kind of the way the depth chart thing is right. Like you're right that you do look at the depth chart, but you're not looking at the top of the depth chart so much as you're looking at the depth of it when you're an undrafted free agent. You're trying to figure out where's the spot where it looks like there's a roster spot available, more so than starting. And once you get the roster spot, then you can worry about moving up the depth chart. But these guys that are undrafted, and honestly, some of these guys in the 5th and 6th and 7th rounds are they want a spot where you got a real shot at the roster first.
Joel, outstanding coverage all weekend long. Again, IndyStar and the Colts Cover 2 podcast. Him and Nate Atkins have a new one up on the draft. Appreciate you waking up with us this morning, Joel.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Joel A. Erickson right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Jake, T.Y. Hilton, or Nick Foles on the roster week 1? Or neither.
T.Y. Hilton, because you go with the stronger variable there, which is it would be easier for him to be, you know what I mean? I mean, they already know him. There's a history there. I realize Frank Reich knows Nick Foles, but I'll go with T.Y. Hilton. I like your line of thinking there, but I'll go with T.Y. Hilton. I noticed you're dressed in all Speedway stuff today.
I thought the month of May.
It's very festive.
Yeah. And you're going with, what's that brand? I have shoes from that brand.
Izod?
Yeah.
The alligators, is that a new...
By the way, the alligators were asleep yesterday, and Rosie was not happy. She wanted the alligators to wake up.
At the zoo?
At the zoo.
You know, I told you there's a bear on the Baylor University campus, and when Mike Byron and I went to go visit Baylor University, the little bear was asleep, and I'm like, well, he'll wake up here in a second. It's like got to be feeding time or whatever. Then I realized he's hibernating. He's going to be asleep for like 3 months. Well, I'm out there trying to
book our trip a few months down the road here.
I got my Apple iPhone. Like, come on, man, wake up! The alarm's going off.
Right, you can set that alert. Like I think Elio had his alert set earlier today. Again, tomorrow's show, Elio Castroneves, and hoping to have Luke Fickell on as the Colts took a couple of Cincinnati Bearcats this weekend that we will hit on. All right, let's do a morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown. On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We'll get right back into the Colts draft in terms of their thoughts on their top pick here in just a second. But first, NBA last night, it was Milwaukee in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals over the Boston Celtics. 101-89. Drew Holiday had 25. Giannis did have 24, 13 boards, 12 assists. Bobby Portis with a double-double of 15 and 11. As you had mentioned, Milwaukee's bench played the difference, Kevin.
Yeah. Yes, Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton, Javon Brown, outstanding.
That Grayson Allen's a likable fella, isn't he?
Yeah, boy, exactly. Fan favorite, especially for those that love Duke. Warriors, they go up 1-0 over the Grizz, 117-116. That was an outstanding game. Jordan Poole, 31 points off the bench for Golden State. Klay Thompson with the eventual game-winning 3. John Morant had Memphis did a nice job getting Morant a look there at the end, but his kind of off-balance layup did not fall. So both the road teams win Game 1. Tonight, we've got the 1 versus 4 matchups. That'll be Miami, favored by 7.5 over, unfortunately, the Joel Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers for at least 2 games in this series. And then Phoenix and Dallas. That will be Phoenix favored by 5.5 in Game 1 in the Western Conference.
Major League Baseball, I'll just do this quickly because it's all bad news. The Cardinals beat the Diamondbacks 7-5. That's bad news because Cardinal fans will let you know about it all the time, right? Actually, I guess the Cubs did win. Cubs over the Brewers 2-0. The Reds I'm telling you right now, this is actually good news. Reds lost 10-1 to Colorado, but the Reds' quest for I don't want them exceeding 25 wins this year. Like, let's just go for it.
I turned 33 years old in September. More years on this earth or more Reds wins this year?
Hey, your age easily. They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
That is so pathetic to say. I want to be mad at you. I want to disagree with you, but I can't.
And then if you look at other teams in the area, they're like, well, maybe I'll root for like the White Sox. Well, they're like a disaster too.
Jake, I saw a stat
year after being really good.
There are 5 MLB pitchers that have more wins than the Reds right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, wipe that grin off your face. Your Cubs stink.
Hey, they've got a better record than the Reds, but yeah, I'm not boasting at all.
That's right. Cubs did.
Stroman is great.
He's really good.
Yesterday.
He's really good. Oh, you want this thing? Like, stop pointing at me, Kevin.
Moving on to the Colts draft. Frank Reich on Alec Pierce. And again, the Colts did private workout with Alec Pierce, Desmond Ridder, Michael Young, undrafted free agent they signed earlier in April. Here was the head coach on his newest weapon.
Same every year. I mean, we're talking about this as an offensive staff the other day before the draft ever even started. We're just saying, this year as much as any year, like in these skill, there's no depth chart. We're just competing. We're rolling and roll guys through. I mean, it's the NFL in a sense. Everybody knows that's the way. That's what's great about these guys. They all know that we're going to put the best guys on the field. So we'll roll through. Everybody got a chance to compete.
Did that take place at a breakfast cafe? Did I hear like coffee mugs?
Charlie Brown's.
Is that where they were?
Yeah, the month of May. Perfect.
That's right. Do you want to know a confession here?
You've never been?
I've never been to Charlie Brown's.
That
neither have I.
Shocks me.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark, okay.
That might make sense, but you never being there is crazy.
I've never been to Charlie Brown's.
Wow.
I've never been a breakfast eater, number one.
Oh, I'm a big breakfast guy.
But I've never been there. Do they close? What time do they close? Do they do lunch also, or is it breakfast only?
We should do I was going to say, should we do our Carb Day show from Charlie Brown's?
Well, we could get a bunch of pancakes and do carb in both forms,
yeah,
right?
I was going to say, do it in more ways than one. Mark, are you looking that up?
I mean, it says they're Charlie Brown's Pancake and Steakhouse, so I imagine they have some sort of lunch and dinner.
Steak and eggs.
What, a ribeye at 6 a.m., Mark? Come on, give it the program.
That's a perfect base on Carb Day.
That's right.
That would probably save a lot of people on Carb Day if they started.
Man, Carb Day gets sloppy. I love Carb Day because it's like a civic holiday, but I'm telling you, I'm worried about the month of May because it appears as though I have a bone spur in my left foot. I can barely move.
Yeah, it's taken you a while to get to the break room. I'm a little nervous about you. And you got the mini this weekend,
right? I know, yes.
Early mini weather looks decent, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 70. It's supposed to be nice.
Good. They've got some sandwiches and whatnot. This looks pretty solid.
Maybe we can do a little post-show outing.
Still looking at the Charlie Brown's menu.
Post-show outing there. Curious your guys'
You
thoughts.
know the problem with that Charlie Brown's when the waitress comes around, she just goes wah 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 wah. You can't. Yeah, it's hard to understand her.
I thought you were gonna say she takes the water away from you before you're ready or something.
that too. Yeah. Her name's Lucy. Yeah.
I think I like Mark's better than Jake's there.
Well, thanks.
Curious your guys'
Why don't you
thoughts
two just go do a show
on the Colts draft? 317-239-1070. You can find us on Twitter as well at KBowen1070 at Jake Query. What do you guys think? Fans of it? Want to know any more about any of their picks? Let us know. Kevin and Query on a gorgeous Monday morning.
Skip the long lines and high cost at the banks and get pre-approved today for your next home purchase or a refinance at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today to get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
It's Terry Stacy for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains. Owner Chris Ambrose says second opinions are important.
We want to make sure that you are confident in the service that you're getting from whoever. The diagnostic that we give you may be different from the one that you got before. What we hope is it'll give you peace of mind that you're getting the right solution for your problem.
Get your free second opinion from B&W by going to BigBlackTrucks.com. Your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
The Colts wasted a little time in the 2022 NFL Draft.
The players have been picked.
Alex, Chris Ballard with the Colts. Welcome to Indy, man. We're going to pick you right here.
Alec Pierce makes the drive up I-74.
The puzzle is coming together.
Taking care of their biggest need. That would be wide receiver.
We've got a lot to talk about between now and September.
He is a big play receiver.
Breakdown and analysis of this year's picks all week long.
So Matt Ryan gets a weapon.
On air and online at 1075thefan.com. You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Okay, with this being the month of May, Kevin, here is my question for you. There will be, presumably, and hopefully 33 drivers in this year's Indianapolis 500. Of the 33, how many of them, because, in racing, it's different than And I say this, I mean, you get this, the same thing happens with the NFL. Like how many Colts players, NFL's different because Colts players are so big, right? How many active Colts players, if they just walked around, they go downstairs, there's that place down here on the Circle, Green District, I think it's called, the salad place, which is fabulous. How many players, if they walked in there, would people immediately say, that's so-and-so?
I'm shocked you haven't gotten a job at that place.
Well,
I would say...
At this point, I'm keeping them afloat.
I'd say around a dozen.
Put the over-under at 12?
Yeah. I think what hurts, though, is like you've had... I don't know how much COVID has impacted that, but I'm sure a little bit of like you don't see these people as much as you would.
Correct. Like you don't...
But yeah, I would say some sort of Matt Ryan, Pittman, Nelson,
You
Kelly.
think people would recognize Michael Pittman by face?
I think so. I mean,
6'4",
200 pounds.
There's no doubt.
Noticeable.
Well, I mean, that's me with about 15 more than that.
Slightly different carrying of the weight.
Come on now.
Lean mass, I should go with.
But in terms of knowing their name and then knowing what they look like are two different things, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so of the 33 drivers in the Indy 500 field this year,
oh gosh,
how many? What's the over-under?
Dixon, Elio, Newgarden.
You think Scott Dixon would be recognized?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. That's tough. Any others that I'm missing? I mean, I felt like those were the three most obvious ones of any.
I think Graham Rahal would probably be
Rahal's
number
a good one.
Elio for sure, right?
Connor Daly?
Rossi?
Yeah, Rossi.
I think by name, like if Rossi walked in and said, I'm Alexander Rossi, I think people would be like, oh yeah,
sure.
he's a 500 driver.
Yes. Yeah.
But, they're in a helmet, they're in a car, they're in a fire suit. I mean, it's totally different, and a lot of them are smaller than you'd think.
For example, we saw my wife
Kanaan, by the way, would be one.
Yeah. Talk about small. My wife and I were out to eat Friday after quals, I guess a couple of years ago. I think Newgarden maybe won the poll. And we saw him, and she was just shocked at oh, that's Joseph Newgarden? I mean, certainly knew the name.
Right.
But, actually seeing him in person. 317-239-1070. Your thoughts on the Colts draft. Jake, again, the fact that the Colts went so heavy athlete testing, measurable-wise, that to me is not what stands out about this draft. I mean, yes, it is something you note, and it's something Chris Ballard has put a whole lot of focus behind in each of his 6 drafts. This one probably more than most. But if the looming quarterback question is going to continue, and we heard from Jim Irsay Saturday, he believes Matt Ryan's going to play 3 to 4 years. If that question is going to hang in the balance, then I think the focus has got to be on those immediate needs. And the fact that they traded back and really got 3 guys in Alec Pierce at wideout, Jelani Woods at tight end, Bernhard Raimann at tackle, the fact that they then got all 3 of them at those 3 needs, I think is critical to now looking at the roster on paper and saying there's not as glaring of a hole. There's still questions, but I don't think we've exited the draft and say that hole is incredibly glaring.
What is the new acronym that everybody goes gaga about that measures athleticism?
RAS.
So someone we were both tagged on it.
Like relative athletic score, I think.
And the Colts drafted they had the highest average RAS score in draft history. Like, okay, or in the history since the RAS came about, which was 3 years ago. So I looked it up to see what franchise each year has had the highest average RAS. Open disclaimer, I'm a total cynic about these things. Carolina Panthers. I mean, and let me tell you, those guys are lighting the world afire, aren't they? I get it. I'd rather have guys that score well athletically and speed and everything else than the alternative. And I don't think the Colts did this, but I think there are times where teams take players because they love the eye test of speed, quickness, athleticism, regardless of what that player has done on a field. This appears to be a list of players, like I said earlier, it's not like when you took TJ Green because you're like, he's a great athlete and he can grow into the position. These don't appear to be guys, Kevin, that will grow into the position guys.
No, I don't think.
Do they have any plug-and-play guys other than at receiver?
Well, I would say Raimann would be the one, but it's not a lock that he, beats out Matt Pryor for the left tackle job. Joel Erickson mentioned Jelani Woods, and yeah, I think he'll play, but I think Mo Alley Cox will be your top kind of snap getter at tight end. It's basically what Chris Ballard says in all this, and this is why I never thought David Bell was seriously on the Colts' radar, because his testing numbers I don't think met where the Colts feel like it needs to be. Ballard says find the unteachable stuff, size, speed, athleticism, strength, whatever, and we'll teach the rest. Basically, we're going to go out there, find some character, find the elite athletes, find them at the positions of need, and then say to your coaching staff, here you go, it's your job to develop. And I certainly see the line of thinking in that. It's a big part of the draft process I think we forget about. It's not just you draft. There has to be an element of they're the right fits for your system, and then your coaching staff has got to develop those guys to where they can handle this. Because if you look at the first 3 picks, Pierce, this past year, really his first time being, I would say, a top wideout. He had some moments definitely in his junior season, but this would be the 1 year. He had 800 yards this season. Jelani Woods, this past year, made the switch from quarterback to tight end, transferred to UVA. Definitely his first year of playing a significant role in college football. Bernhard Raimann, he's had 2 years at left tackle. Was a tight end prior to that. If you go off of position experience, Jake, these 3 guys don't have a ton.
Right.
Compared to most people drafted in these spots. You can look at it one of 2 ways. That's a risk, or it's a lot more potential there that we feel like we can tap into. That's obviously where the Colts are thinking. Yes, Woods, Pierce, Raimann, they all had moments, not a ton of moments. They all had moments in college. Now it's the Colts saying, come to Indianapolis, and we'll get you to reach a higher ceiling.
Which Colts current player do you think has the greatest disparity one way or the other between their level of significance and contribution to the franchise and their level of public recognition when they walk into a place?
Well, his size is a dead giveaway, but I'd say Braden Smith.
Yeah, so you're saying people wouldn't recognize Braden Smith.
No, they would look at him and be like, dude, that's a 6'6" polar bear. Who is that?
Right.
But, and Braden Smith wants that. Braden Smith just wants to fish and play football. He's not seeking out any sort of...
How about on the other end of it, Rodrigo Blankenship? Okay, there's one, Rigoberto Sanchez. How many people would recognize Rigoberto Sanchez?
I think the specs are pretty noticeable.
Well, that's what I'm saying on Hot Rod.
Yeah. What about Kenny Moore?
Here's the thing. I think Kenny Moore people might recognize, except for he's probably a smaller guy than people anticipate, right?
Yeah, 5'9".
Right. So, I think people would be surprised. They would think that he's this big guy, and he's not necessarily. Hot Rod, I think people recognize just because the glasses. That's what I'm saying. He would be in the top. There might be more people that recognize Rodrigo Blankenship than recognize Jonathan Taylor. Right?
That sounds crazy, but it's probably not the craziest thing. Hot Rod had a good weekend.
Correct.
Did you see kickers and punters getting drafted in the 4th round? Multiple. You think
were you surprised?
That's the Cincinnati impact of last year.
Were you surprised the Colts didn't address that?
Where I am surprised is I didn't see them address it in the undrafted class either. I thought they'd sign, an undrafted kicker, bring him in and compete. There is a kicker on the roster. He was an undrafted free agent the previous year, but
Now, the Colts had the record for, I think it was a record, wasn't it, for most consecutive years with at least one opening week starter who was an undrafted free agent?
Yeah.
But did that end last year?
I think it ended last year. Yeah, it was like 22 straight years. But to Joel's point, and we'll go over the undrafted class when it's announced later in the week, there are probably several positions you could point to. Offensive tackle is what Joel pointed to. Running back, definitely. They only signed one cornerback. I still think that could be a need that they go with.
They signed your quarterback
in the undrafted.
right?
Jack Cohn. I think that's smart. I think first he's an intelligent dude. And how many times do you watch like a fourth preseason game, Jake? And a lot of times it's probably on the offensive line, but the quarterback just like can't do anything.
Right.
It's like, how do you evaluate these wideouts? Quarterback's throwing ground balls to him.
It's a good point.
So I don't know. Maybe Cohn can help you out there. We'll get to where some of the state school guys went as well. Purdue and Indiana, where some of those guys ended up. And again, curious your guys' thoughts. 317-239-1070. We're recapping the Colts draft here on Kevin and Query on a Monday.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Pine Grove Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Pine Grove Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 317-552-1111. That's 317-552-1111. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Pine Grove Medical Clinic now. 317-552-1111.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
Was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When our Shane Company diamond buyers travel overseas to examine diamonds, they have everything they need to select the most beautiful stones. In-depth knowledge, experience, natural light, and an eye for beauty. When you shop with us, we want you to also have everything you'll need to select your diamond. That's why we sell our diamonds loose. We were the first jeweler in America to sell loose stones. To choose a diamond, ruby, or sapphire like an expert, you need to see the entire stone, to look at it from every angle before it's set into your jewelry. Our jewelry consultants provide everything you need to properly evaluate a stone, the tools, the correct lighting, and the knowledge. You'll compare loose stones side by side, like our diamond experts do. It's the only way you'll be sure to choose the perfect diamond for you. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Now through May 10th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends May 10th. See club for details.
A fire burns inside us, a never-ending flame within that pushes us every day to be our best. For the Indiana Fever and our fans, Fever Ignite is about more than lighting that fire within ourselves. It's an invitation to join us together on a new journey forward. You feel that, Indiana? The temperature is rising again. Fever, ignite.
The Fever Home Opener is Sunday, May 8th at 3 when the Los Angeles Sparks come to town. Get your tickets at feverbasketball.com. Fever Home Opener, Sunday at 3.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Hey, join me today. We're going to talk Colts, and more Colts. Obviously, Colts Draft with Sean Salisbury. The great Sean Unfiltered joins. You should too. Noon to 3 today.
It's yours. Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world?
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Kevin and Query on a picture-perfect Monday morning
nice.
here to start the month of May. Again, all May long. Trackside, 7 o'clock. Beyond the Bricks, 8 o'clock. That's Jake and Mike Thompson, 8 o'clock. And tonight, you guys, Sid Collins, you said?
Sid Collins passed away, Kevin, 45 years ago today. I don't want it to appear like a somber episode. I mean, we just kind of take a look back at Sid Collins, but obviously his passing 45 years ago today, I wouldn't expect a lot of people to remember or realize this, but it was a shock. It was a shocking passing away. And so, 3 weeks, a month before the Indianapolis 500, the guy that for 25 years had been the chief announcer on the radio network passes away. And so that leads to Paul Page ascending into the chair as the chief announcer. So we kind of take a look back on that today. We've got a lot planned for Beyond the Bricks, Mike Thompson and myself, talking about not only, and he has fabulous audio of some of the stars of the 50s, interviews with drivers that you've heard about, but maybe, for race fans, Lee Wallard and, Pat O'Connor and, Pat Flaherty and different names like that, and interviews that those drivers have done. And so we get into all that from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way through. Don't have a lot of audio of Ray Haroon, although it does exist. But you get the drift. But anyway, that begins tonight at 8 o'clock.
And we're going to have Elio Castroneves on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We'll have Elio on a couple times here during the month of May.
Mark hung up on him earlier.
Looking forward to that. Awkward. Again, I thought Elio was
Sorry, you're not on till 8 tomorrow.
I really thought Elio was calling in to give us thoughts on the Colts draft. Speaking of that, I know Matthew wanted to talk Colts draft on this Monday morning. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Kevin.
What do you think of the draft?
I thought it was decent. It's pretty solid. I like that they addressed some pressing needs. But I am an FCS guy, so I did notice that they did draft Ogletree from Youngstown State. I didn't really know him that well in college, so I know he's kind of a long shot to make the roster, so I was curious your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, Jake, let's go over a couple. Thank you, Matthew, for the call. Let's go over a couple of those day 3 picks. If I'm not mistaken, Missouri State would be FCS as well, right?
I think that's right, yeah.
So, on day 3, it was Eric Johnson, defensive lineman out of Missouri State. It was Drew. I think he wants to go by Drew just to get everybody on the same page. I think we do this a lot with the draft picks. Drew Ogletree out of Youngstown State, transfers from Findlay. And then Curtis Brooks, defensive tackle out of Cincinnati, and Rodney Thomas, a cornerback out of Yale. That surprised you, right? A second tight end?
The second tight end did totally surprise me because you already have 2 in the stable. A 3 tight end. Having an undrafted free agent or somebody that's clearly you're taking a flyer on, I get it.
Which is what a lot of day 3 is about.
Understood. But at that position, I think probably at that position, you're probably going best player available, right?
Would you prefer they went to another wide receiver?
That's where I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
That was the first pick at that point of the draft. I was like, really? And I get it. It's round 6. At that point, you're just drafting someone that really you have liked, regardless of position. I was thinking receiver, and then the position I threw at Joel Erickson earlier, cornerback. I still think corner is a one injury away situation to where you're a bit in scramble mode. But Drew Ogletree started at, again, Division II and then transferred to Youngstown State, kind of grew from a bigger wideout into a tight end. There's not a ton of production, particularly in the touchdown department there, but they look at, this is the epitome of like mold out of clay. 6'6", 250, 260, ran really well. There's some questions about his hands. They are impressed with him in the all-star game aspect to the offseason. But I'm with Jake. It's going to be a battle for Drew Ogletree to make the football team. Keeping 4 tight ends is something the Colts have done, but it's also a bit of a luxury. You got to be really good and really sound and healthy at your other spots to be able to do that. But that is a little bit on Drew Ogletree. The day 3 pick that I really like is Curtis Brooks, defensive tackle.
He was a late starter at Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, kind of a
late bloomer.
It's weird reading some of these bios, Jake. Some of these guys have been in college for 5 or 6 years with the COVID year.
Well, that's not weird for me.
It would be really weird if the Colts drafted a 49-year-old
with bone spurs
who was going back to school. He's running the mini this weekend.
That's right.
But Curtis Brooks is a bit on the older side. 7.5 sacks last year. And Jake, if you're a defensive tackle and you have 7.5 sacks, that catches your eye. You do it for one of the best defenses in college football. That really catches my eye. I think the reason why Brooks fell and the reason why the Colts feel like it's a fit is he's a bit on the smaller side. He's like 285 pounds. But again, and we've talked a little bit about this, but probably haven't gotten too much into it, Gus Bradley, the new defensive coordinator, has a new focus for the defensive line, and that is immediately get upfield. Vertical, vertical, vertical. Don't read and react like they previously did under Matt Eberflus. So with Curtis Brooks, they feel like the undersize is not that big of an issue. He's not up there to just absorb multiple blockers. He's up there to kind of wreak havoc right away. And I think...
Is it wreck havoc or wreak havoc?
Actually, might be wreak. Is it wreak and spelled wreck?
Mark?
I say wreak.
Mark was reluctant there. He did not want to be the judge and jury on this question.
Not the judge, Kevin, but it's wreak.
No, I think you guys are. Is it spelled wreck? Is that what it is?
I think it's
wreak?
WR. In your defense, it does begin with a W. Isn't it WREAK?
WREAK, yeah.
Yeah. So I if it makes you feel any better, for years I have said
wreck, reek.
I've always said motorcycle, and it's motorcycle, right?
Motorcycle?
Well, it's a bicycle, right? So when I was a kid, I'm like, well, I thought the suffix was sickle because it's bicycle. You don't say bicycle, right?
The English language is weird.
Hey, I was going to say, good thing,
Thank God it's our first language.
Bernhard Raimann isn't, having this as his first language.
When I think of Eric Johnson, I think of two things: the guitarist and then the tight end from the Niners. Do you know who he married?
No, I don't. Should I know Eric Johnson?
The guitarist?
The Niners.
Cliffs of Dover is a wonderful song. Eric Johnson of the San Francisco 49ers has 3 children with his current wife, Jessica Simpson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jessica Simpson, I had a big crush on her and probably still do, honestly. Eric Johnson, remember Dane Brugler, who we had on a couple weeks ago? He had Eric Johnson as the highest graded non-combine invite.
I mean, again, isn't that kind of like being the tallest member of the Lollipop Guild?
To a degree. The Colts see a little bit of Grover Stewart in him as kind of a smaller school guy.
I mean, that would be if he pans out to be like a Grover Stewart, you're way ahead of the game, right?
I think what stands out to me about Eric Johnson is he's another one of these guys that played 5 seasons in college because of the COVID year. Never missed a game. That's pretty impressive to play in the defensive interior and to have not missed a single game. So I think with Eric Johnson, Curtis Brooks, those picks on day 3, you're looking at kind of defensive line depth is the focus there. Brian, we'll get to you when we come back. Again, curious your guys' thoughts on the Colts draft here. 8 picks, 4 on defense, 4 on offense. Kevin and Corey, 9 o'clock hour coming up.
The Ride with JMV.
Bobby Marks of ESPN. How do you think they're going to end up, Kevin Pritchard and company, handling this offseason?
There's a foundation there. I think they're in better shape than some other teams that have been going through this, but it's just a matter of how they prioritize Brogdon. What do you do with cap space? Miles going into last year of his contract, and then of course it starts with the draft in June.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Pay off your debt in 21 days or less and apply for your simple cash-out refinance today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all. Hey, summer's right around the corner. Getting out of town, maybe? How about a road trip? Maybe a summer vacation with the family? One thing I never leave home without is my AAA membership. Flat tire, dead battery, I run out of gas, lock my keys in my car. I got AAA, baby. It's there for me. 24/7, 365 a year, no matter where your travels take you. Do you really want to worry about a dead battery in your rental car when you're on vacation? I do not. So if you're planning to hit the road this summer, do yourself a favor. Join AAA today. Simple. To get your AAA membership, visit AAA.com or call 844-GO-AAA-GO or stop by your local AAA office. And as always, tell them Daniel J. Dockage sent you. And don't forget to ask about complimentary travel planning and great insurance rates, whether it's auto, home, life, and so much more. Get AAA because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB WIBC HD3 W228CX Indianapolis. Your home for the 2022 NBA playoffs and the NBA Finals. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, we're calling the plays, all right?
Hey, we gotta run the ball. It's down there.
Block. We'll run the ball.
Can we run it down there?
Just play.
We run it down.
Yeah, Jeff.
Okay, so
we will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
On 93.5
Boom, baby.
and 107.5. The Fan.
9 o'clock hour here on Kevin Query. It's been a busy Monday recapping the 2022 NFL Draft for the Colts. A trade back allowed them to really address the 3 biggest needs that we talked about all last week. That would be wideout, tight end, and left tackle. And then they traded back into the 3rd round to get Nick Cross, the safety out of Maryland, which just goes to show you how much they love Nick Cross. That, to me, Jake, is the pick that stood out the most because it's such an anti-Chris Ballard move, which actions speak louder than words. I don't necessarily love it from the fact that I feel like when you have quarterback and the looming question there, I want as much draft capital as possible for future drafts and trade up for a quarterback. But having said that, clearly they view Nick Cross as a potential star.
Now, I want you to explain something, Kevin, because I want, and if you could, to me, like I'm a 3rd grader, which I, to some extent, I am. There are.
Who's your 3rd grade teacher on Teacher Appreciation Week?
Nancy Mormon.
Okay. I had Mrs. Trinan.
I had Mrs. Hanoi for kindergarten, Mrs. Bolcharczyk for 1st grade, Fiedler for 2nd grade, Mormon for 3rd grade, Ritchie for 4th grade, Umamura for 5th grade. All fabulous. Al Smith Elementary School. On National Teacher Week, it is.
Yes, it is.
Teachers deserve more than just a day,
I was going
Kevin.
to say, well deserved. And it's finals week for a lot of college colleges around.
Oh, don't I know? There are, as I can tell it, there are 3 ways that a player coming out of college or whatever it may be can enter training camp with an NFL franchise. They can be drafted, obviously. They can be an undrafted free agent. And then there's what's called invited. So what is undrafted free agent? It kind of goes without saying what that means. Undrafted, of those 3, a drafted player gets a contract, clearly. What is the pay, or how does it work, or what's the difference between an undrafted free agent and like an invited camp attendee?
Okay, so the Colts had 8 draft picks. They've got room for about 18 to 20 undrafted free agents. That list should be finalized here in the coming days. They might sign more than that and then cut a few guys that are already on the roster because you have a 90-man roster limit. So your draft picks and your undrafted free agents will add up to 90. The Colts enter the draft with about 65 guys on the roster. The difference between an invite versus the other rookies is this. The Colts will have a rookie minicamp, not this weekend, but next weekend. So it'll be 3 days of on-field work, the first on-field work for the Colts rookies. So you have your draft picks, you'll have your undrafted free agents. Again, that group adds up to 25, something like that. Well, you need more to run a successful practice. So you will have these rookie minicamp invites that will just be here for 3 days. They have no spot on your roster. Each year of the 20 or so invite guys, there's probably 1 or 2 that make a strong impression enough in the 3 days here that they then get signed to the 90-man roster, and one of those undrafted free agents that you signed, they're gone. So
now, the undrafted free agents that are signed, are they all? Are you all paid right away, guaranteed money, regardless if you're there a day or a week or whatever?
No, there are, and Joel Erickson touched on this a little bit in the 8 o'clock hour. You do sign bonuses, and let me just bring up Joel. Joel mentioned some of these bonuses earlier. So Jack Cohn, okay, $5,000 signing bonus, $55,000 base guarantee. So he's got that guarantee no matter what happens to him. The Colts signed an offensive tackle out of UConn, $175,000 guarantee. So that is on the high end of it. They signed a running back, if you add it up, $100,000 guarantee. So there are various guarantees for these undrafted free agents, but their contracts will not become official until they make the Week 1 roster on that. So the difference between the invites is you've got a 3-day tryout. The undrafted free agents, you've got a little bit more guarantee to your spot on the roster. Yes, you can be cut at any time, and same for a draft pick. Draft pick can be cut at any time. But those are the differences. Does that totally make sense to you?
So a guy that, for example, somebody sent me a thing here, Arizona, University of Arizona. Lucas, I'm not sure how you say his name here because they've got like some weird font on it. This Lucas fella.
Yes.
We're just going to call him that, Lucas fella. I'm not sure the position. It says, next stop, Indianapolis. Congratulations to Lucas Haversick. I assume that's how you say his last name. He's a kicker. On earning an invite from the Colts. So he was invited as a kicker. So if you had to guess, he's getting how much money, and then, or is it just?
Yeah,
they're just giving him
invites. I don't know. You probably get a 3-day stipend. I don't think you get really anything. So he will come here. He'll practice for 3 days, and then if the Colts want to sign him to their 90-man roster for the rest of the offseason, they'll have to make a roster move and cut an undrafted free agent.
Right.
So basically, it's a 3-day, job interview with no guarantees. Whereas the undrafted free agents, Jack Cohn, for example, out of Notre Dame, Michael Young is a wideout out of Cincinnati. Those are some of the notable names. And the draft picks, of course, they have much more of a guarantee that there would be a financial hit if you did cut them. So that rookie minicamp, again, is next weekend for the Colts.
I'm going to use a Clemson example here, and my apologies, but it is the one that I know the most about because I follow Clemson pretty heavily. I'm going to ask everybody to go back in their mind here. In Trevor Lawrence's freshman year, when Clemson kind of blew Alabama out of the building in the national championship game, which feels like 100 years ago, but it was, 3 years ago? In that game, Clemson had their breakout star in that playoff, Kevin, was a wide receiver by the name of Justin Ross. He was a freshman, 5-star recruit.
Oh, yeah.
The whole deal, out of Alabama. And he had, 140 yards and 2 scores against Notre Dame, and then against Alabama, he had another 135. He had a couple of one-handed grabs. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was a star.
He put on a show. In his sophomore year at Clemson, it was discovered that he had that same stenosis of the neck that Peyton Manning had. So he went through a medical procedure, sat out the year, came back last year, and in his junior year suffered a foot fracture and caught 500 and some odd yards and a handful of touchdowns last year. Anyway, had he been able to come out after his freshman year, he would have been a first-round pick.
Oh, top 10 probably.
Undrafted. Not only undrafted, he has yet to sign anywhere as an undrafted free agent.
Really?
The neck injury and the foot. I know and I understand and I somewhat actually agree with, but I get it. People's hesitation with the whole name, image, likeness thing. But here's a guy that if he could have done the name, image, likeness in his freshman year at Clemson, where coming off of that national championship run, he was the toast of college football and made some money from as it is now. He's done. Unless I don't know where he goes. I don't know.
Wow, that's wild. He hasn't even signed an undrafted.
His money-making opportunity is theoretically gone, right?
Yeah, and I agree, Jake. Certainly the name, image, likeness, which is really no longer. People say name, image, likeness, but it's turned into something totally
you saw different. What happened with the kid at Miami of Florida, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking Nigel Pack.
Right, the other kid, Isaiah Wong, I think.
He was their star this year when they got to the Elite Eight. And so he came out and said, unless you up my name, image, likeness money to the capacity that Nigel Pack is getting.
And he got it from the same company, right?
Yeah, then I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to turn into, right?
Again, that is directly pay for play. That is not
right.
Name, image, likeness. That is.
The thought was with name, image, likeness, like, hey, if they're going to sell like some
jerseys,
23 jerseys in the bookstore, then Trace Jackson Davis can get $2 a jersey. That was the thought, right? But they didn't put any sort of a parameter on it, and so it's just the wild, wild west, right?
Yeah. Speaking of colleges, Xander Horvath, Purdue running back, I think maybe fullback at this level, drafted by the Chargers in 7th round. Remember Micah McFadden from IU, the linebacker?
Yes.
He's a good player. 4th round to the Giants.
Did Freifogel go?
No, undrafted. Talk about a dude that lost a lot of money coming back. Cowboys. Undrafted free agent there.
Man, you're not kidding, though, because had he come out after his junior year?
Yeah, probably, 3rd round, something around
probably.
there?
He had a monster year. Jim Irsay tweeted about him. Remember that?
Oh, I do remember that. That was a while ago.
I think it was at the very beginning of last season before the complete fall-off.
Jake, the most top 100 picks. What college produced the most this year? Guys that went in the top 100. 3 schools above the rest.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Of the 3, how many in the last 3 years have been in the college football playoff?
Well, that might give it away.
Well, Georgia's got to be one of them.
Georgia's number 1, number 2 on the list.
Alabama?
2, and number 3.
Is the number 3 also a playoff contender?
That could give it away.
Cincinnati.
The Bearcats.
Is it really?
The Bearcats, baby.
Look at the big brain on Jake. Come on now.
How
solid. About that?
That was solid.
This education I'm taking, these classes, I'm telling you, it's paying off, right?
And the Colts contributed to that with Alec Pierce there. 5 Cincinnati Bearcats.
And that doesn't include the Colts went outside the top 100 and took another Bearcat, right?
Yeah, Curtis Brooks, defensive tackle there in round 6. So, well, again, they're a playoff team. It makes sense, but
you got to give credit to
Luke
Cincinnati.
Fickell's done, and we're hoping to have Luke on tomorrow. What Mike want to talk about here, Mark?
He likes Alec Pierce, but who he would have preferred they drafted instead of him.
Gotcha. Mike, welcome to Kevin and Query.
Hey, remember Teresa, me and Angel, bless you. Keep Angel in your prayers. Angel sends you a hug, and real quick, I was hoping Christian Watson.
You know what? You're not alone in that, Mike, and it's
Macho
good to
Mike,
hear from you.
Great to hear from you. Thank you. Did you see where he went?
Yeah, my buddy Kansas City Steve, Chief Steve, asked me about Watson. I think he had his eye on him too. Is that where he went? He didn't go to Green Bay though, did he?
Green Bay.
They moved up to get him.
Now Kansas City's Sky Moore.
I knew that. Sky Moore, right after the Colts, right?
Right after Alec Pierce. I think the difference there was a little bit more with the frame of Alec Pierce. 6'3". But yeah, Christian Watson, to Mike's point, you want to talk about athletic traits, certainly has them. I think there were some legit questions about his hands, but was that second round, Mark, Purdue and Watson? Or Green Bay and Watson?
Yeah, I believe so.
Because didn't Aaron Rodgers say that he didn't expect that they'd take any receivers?
In round 1. So yeah, they're going to need Watson to help out.
He's going to play a big role.
How about the Alec Pierce family? Mom and dad, Division I athletes. He obviously is a Division I athlete. A brother that finishes college basketball career at North Carolina, and another brother that's going to Princeton to play college basketball.
Let me tell you something. This is why the two things in the NFL draft that I want to go back to hammering home for parents. I know that I'm old guy yelling at clouds at times. I shouldn't say old guy, but just guy yelling at clouds. I get it. I'm not going to go off on a toot or a tangent here, I promise, because it's boorish. I don't think people want to hear on the radio a guy at 9 o'clock in the morning yelling at them. But I can't beg enough of parents. If you have a middle school to early high school and certainly elementary school aged child, look at the NFL draft. There is a common theme. Look at the NBA draft. How many times when you watch the NBA draft did they announce a player and then they say in the little bio underneath it, Dad was a was an All-American at Delaware State. Mom was a volleyball player at Texas Pan American. All the time. Elite level athletes, shocking. I know this is going to be a shock to a lot of people. More often than not, elite level athletes descend from elite level athletes. And in addition to that, when you look at the players the Colts drafted, for example, so many of them played different sports. They learned different skill sets. They trained their body in different areas, and they loved it. There are football players that liked playing baseball in the summer. There are basketball players that really had fun playing soccer. There are swimmers that really enjoyed track and field. If your kid is like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and you're paying thousands of dollars for some trainer to come in and give them personal training and limiting them to one sport and isolating them away from like going out and playing capture the flag because it interferes with their shuttle time in the backyard, what you are doing is creating a burnout diva that 90% of all people look at as just a kid that they don't want their kids around because they're a complete pain in the backside because you've completely spoiled them. Let your kids be kids. Let them try different sports and let them find out that in reality, when they get to middle school or high school, they might not be good enough to make the team. That's life. And the ump's not holding your kid back. The coach isn't holding your kid back. Oftentimes, simple genetics are. It's that simple. End of rant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know Joe Wrights has been, first off, a direct example of it here locally and is a huge advocate with tons of kids. He's got like 6 or 7 kids of wanting your kids to play multiple sports, and I know this. NFL teams are looking for kids that have multiple sport backgrounds.
Totally,
they are looking for kids that
and you know
are
what?
Not in this, almost bubble their whole life with one sport or one position. We've talked about it. Alec Pierce, not a full-time wideout throughout his career at Cincinnati. Bernhard Raimann, from tight end to offensive tackle. I think a big reason why the Colts really like Raimann is he comes from Europe, Jake. Literally, he saw his neighbors playing catch one day at the age of 14 and was like, oh, football looks fun. And next thing you know, he's like, yeah, we were just playing catch and tackling each other in the yard. And he's played football for, 10 years? And obviously has not played at a very high level for those 10 years. So the Colts feel like there's not this like scar tissue with them. There is not this burnout with them. There is this, you don't have these like locked in fundamentals. You're willing to learn. You're open to failure and growing from that. That is a huge reason why Bernhard Raimann is a guy.
I would bet you $100 that Bernhard Raimann probably played soccer as a kid.
Yep.
And so therefore, as a left tackle, his footwork is really good. And I would also bet that Bernhard Raimann didn't have a dad that was sending off tapes of him at 10 and paying some guy $2,500 to come in his garage and shoot videotapes of him at side angles to analyze his foot burst on his lateral movement before he even went through puberty. It's perverse and disgusting with some of these parents, and it's the reason why they can't even get officials to do Little League games anymore, because every single parent all of a sudden thinks they're Tommy Lasorda. It's a disaster. In rant 2.
You're fired up.
I am. I get so worried. The number of, one of these days is a feature on this show. I'm going to read my inbox to people. Come out and see. You're missing out. You're sleeping on the number one third grade AAU team in the country. The number one point guard in America is a 9-year-old, and you're not profiling him. You should talk about him more. What?
Yeah. I said a few weeks ago, Jake, the most relatable moment that I saw at my nephew's soccer game a few weeks back was him sitting by himself, Indian style, on the field after the game, eating his post-game snack.
Right. Totally.
The happiest moment.
Right.
Not him scoring a couple goals, not him, winning the game or whatever. It was simply just doing something he loves and then enjoying maybe a walking taco, which sounds great right now, actually.
Look.
In the morning.
He's I just want the orange slices, right?
And again, on a much grander level, teams are looking for the untapped potential here, and that is exactly what the Colts feel like. These are not finished products. And the Colts have got some work to do with some of these guys, but they feel like there are traits there that you can't teach, and we're going to tap into that. That is the goal. That is the hope with guys like Pierce and guys like Raimann, guys like Jelani Woods as well, because their college resume is not filled with All-American seasons or 1,000-yard seasons. That's not there. There are other draft picks you can find around these guys that produce much more higher level. So should we be a little bit patient about their impact at the NFL? Sure. But again, the Colts believe that they are giving their coaching staff some clay to mold, and they are going to try and do that. Tyrann Mathieu to the Saints. Am I seeing that?
Honey Badger?
Yep. Should be finalized in the coming days.
I think that was expected, wasn't it? Didn't he?
So that makes sense given his collegiate background.
That's right.
Yeah, he visited there, I think, a few weeks ago. I think you'll start to see this. You'll start to see some teams react after the draft now. Sign some of these veterans.
Yeah, you get a better idea what your roster's going to look like.
They don't count against the compensatory pick formula, which is kind of hard to explain, but that's another advantage there. And we'll see about T.Y. Hilton. I'm getting kind of some mixed signals on it. Well, I still think he should be brought back, but I know I'm in the minority of believing that he still has a little bit left.
If he doesn't re-sign with the Colts, T.Y. Hilton, does somebody sign him? Is his career done?
Oh, I think.
Do you think it's interesting that nobody signed him to this point?
No, I think it's probably a two-way street. I think he wanted to sift through it and see what was out there, and similar to Matthew or Stephon Gilmore a few weeks ago. I think some of these veterans, once they get through that first kind of wave of free agency, they're like, all right, might as well just be patient with the process. And don't we see it in training camp every year? Guys that really wait, and then all of a sudden, a big injury happens in training camp, and a team gets desperate, and then they're like, hey, we really could use that guy.
Big injury like bone spurs in your foot just before the mini?
I'm worried about you.
I'm telling you, if I go right now to use the restroom, I might make it back for the end of the pop quiz.
Mark was suggesting you just raise your scooter through the whole mini.
Well, I'm doing it. Here's the thing. I'm doing it with Dr. Mottman. And so I told him, I go, you know, I've got another.
Foot doctor too? Well?
I said to him, I said, you know, my buddy Mike Stevens, who does St. Vincent Sport Performance, and I said, the two of you guys could have a club together about your regret of giving me your cell phone numbers, because then I text them constantly with my medical ailments. So, yeah, I mean, who knows, right? Stevens is telling me to put some ointment on my foot. Then I look it up, and it says that you shouldn't take it if you're a heart patient. So then I got to call Mottman, and he's like, yeah, dude, like, you know, you're okay. Just don't start drinking it. I'm okay. Yeah, you know. Middle age is something, man.
Morris wanted our thoughts on Nick Cross safety out of Maryland.
Athletic, man.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that earlier. It's the pick that stands out to me the most because Chris Ballard traded a future third-round pick for him. Basically, this is the Colts' thought process on it. Nick Cross came out of school early. He's 20 years old. They thought to themselves, where would he be drafted next April? The consensus in the room was he'd probably go in the second round. So they felt like it was worth giving up a third-rounder next year for him. Big, fast safety. And if you're Kari Willis and maybe Julian Blackmon, you probably didn't love seeing that pick.
You know the highlight of the draft for me? First off, I was at an event with Miller Lite. Thank you to Miller Lite and Kyle for setting us up, handing out tickets at the Mucky Duck on Friday night. Who announced the Colts pick? I know Anthony Costanzo, but then later, what was that? Two guys fell down? What was going on there?
Yeah, that was a little weird. You know, honestly, I was at the zoo yesterday. Didn't the Colts have, like, was it an orangutan? Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
Orangutan announced it a few years ago?
That's correct.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is that the one that did the draft?
Seemed to be more organized.
Is that Charlie?
Now,
Lucy?
Did you see the Viking, the former Viking?
Ed Marinaro, I think he just finished talking just now.
That dude should be banned from.
Oh my God!
I'm telling you guys.
I swore at my TV. My wife's like, "What are you yelling about?"
Finish line for the Indy 500 and tell him to dodge cars for the first few laps.
I'm telling you guys, and I know you both strongly disagreed with me, and I respect that. But I'm telling you,
who is that human?
He was a former Viking player that later was an actor on Hill Street Blues. But those kinds of auxiliary things are what eventually is going to cause a fatigue of the NFL draft for people. I think people love the intrigue of where players are going and the introduction of new college stars or new NFL stars coming out of college. I get all that. But the auxiliary, over-the-top, highly overproduced laser show of people coming out doing somersaults to hand an envelope to Donny Osmond and Wayne Newton, who, as Mark said, should have an endorsement deal with some sort of an eye drop factory because he hasn't been able to close his eyes since 1977 when he was on a Love Boat. I'm telling you, like, that kind of stuff. Can you imagine getting drafted into the NFL and Donny Osmond's the one telling the world about it?
It wasn't Donny Osmond. It was the wax figure of Donny Osmond.
Whoever is the NFL employee that told him to speed up, they should give her a raise.
Oh, she came out and was like, all right, get to. I mean, he went for like 2 minutes and 10 seconds, right?
I swore at my TV. My wife's like, what are you yelling at? This old man won't shut up and announce the draft pick.
Did you see the Vikings draft party?
Yes.
Chuck Foreman was on the phone calling him like, man, I'm calling him right now.
Yeah, seriously. As much as the NFL draft might be a bit of a circus show, Jake, we haven't had listener numbers like this in quite a while. People eat it up. People love the draft. And
like
honestly,
I said, Kevin, here's the thing. I don't disagree with that. But people
it's
love
not going anywhere.
I understand that, but listen to what I'm saying. People love the process of the draft. But
they're not going to turn it off because some guy talked for an extra minute or two longer.
Have you seen NASCAR ratings?
Comparing NASCAR to the NFL draft?
In 2000, NASCAR was doing numbers as high as the NFL. And then they started doing 3-hour pre-race shows and having digger and monster trucks. And people were just like, yeah, I just want to see the race. And they got fatigued by it.
I could do without like the G-list celebrities.
That's what I mean. Just that kind of thing.
But again, that's not going to be the demise of the NFL draft.
No, you're just kind of like, who's this clown?
The NFL draft, the unknown, the unpredictability.
I get it.
The college NFL married together aspect of it, it's invincible.
I don't disagree. I don't know if I'd say nothing's invincible. In today's sports climate, nothing is invincible. But
the NFL is...
The NFL's an 800-pound gorilla. I get it. But I'm telling you, there are certain things that the NFL, Kevin, and I don't, trust me, there are certain things that even the NFL was not impermeable towards. It didn't long-term make an impact, but there is no doubt that on a short-term level, the NFL ratings were affected by the politics that were brought into the NFL. Because, I mean, it was. The ratings indicate it. I'm just saying, with the draft, I get it. I mean, people love the draft. I like it too. But people are watching for the draft. They're not watching for Wayne Newton. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think we're kind of almost saying the same thing here. I just don't know why they need to bring all that other stuff into it, because it already is what people want to see. So why are we spreading it out? I mean, I get why we're spreading it out over 4 days, and I get all that. But all of the auxiliary stuff, people were literally getting the hook, because it's like you're taking away from what we are here to see. We want to see who the Vikings drafted. We don't want to hear about your filmography on Hill Street Blues. And so they gave the guy the hook.
The final prelims for the Golden Gloves is Thursday. We'll give away a 4-pack to that each day this week. Again, the championship is
Golden
Thursday,
Gloves is the best.
May 12th. So we'll do that on the pop quiz, 317-239-1070. Let's hit a morning checkdown.
The Morning Checkdown. Omaha! On 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
We've talked plenty about the NFL, so why not NBA here? Milwaukee 101-89 over the Boston Celtics. Bucks lead the Eastern Conference semifinals 1-0. That essentially shifted home court back to Milwaukee, right?
Both series yesterday. Both road teams win. Golden State wins in Memphis 117-116. A thriller there. I'm hoping, and really I have to speak for all these series, that they go 6 or 7 games here. Tonight it'll be Miami hosting Philly. That is no Joel Embiid for games 1 and 2. Did not travel to Miami. Concussion protocol, he's going to have to clear to
orbital
play
fracture, doesn't he?
4. Yeah, orbital fracture for him. Obviously, that shifts that series completely. And then the nightcap, or I should say the second game tonight, Phoenix Suns hosting the Dallas Mavericks. They are favored by 5.5.
Major League Baseball yesterday, Cubs over the Brewers 2-0. It was St. Louis 7-5 over Arizona. The Red Hot Reds, flirting with history. Fewer than 25 wins on the year. I'm saying go for it. Colorado beat them 10-1. The Padres over the Pirates 5-2. The Indianapolis Indians snap a 3-game losing skid by defeating the Iowa Cubs 3-1.
Pato Ward, the winner yesterday in Barber. Jake was on the call for that. Held off Alex Pillow, and Rinus VeeKay had a good run for a while there until Pato.
Hey, VeeKay, who is really talented, had the car to beat, really, and then coming out of the pits on the last pit stop, VeeKay, I think, just kind of, he actually, I think, braked a little too early in trying to get some heat in his tires, and Ward seized the opportunity right past him, and then Pillow got past VeeKay. That's your podium. Those 3 of them. The winner, Pato Award. Second place, Alex Pillow, who, by the way, is featured. Alex Pillow will be featured later today on the website, 1075thefan.com, and my series of getting to know the personalities of the drivers, and then VeeKay finished 3rd.
Trackside and Jake's Beyond the Bricks every single night here, weeknight during the month of May, 7 and 8 o'clock. All right, we come back one pop quiz time. Again, 317-239-1070. Golden Gloves tickets given away.
Sometimes an injury or death happens due to someone else's mistake. Find justice with the injury attorneys at Parr Ritchie at 317-269-2509. PARRinjury.com.
The Indiana Golden Glove Boxing Tournament is back, and we are giving away free tickets. Keep an eye out on our 1075 The Fan Facebook page for a comment to win social post every Wednesday.
Join the team at Speedway and give your career a boost. Participating Speedway stores are hosting a National Hiring Day on May 3rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So come check out the opportunities Speedway has for everyone.
You've likely heard the news. The Fed announced that they have raised interest rates, and it probably won't be the last time. But there is still time to act, and the good news is Golden Oak Lending still has millions of dollars available to lend. Home financing has language all its own, but Golden Oak Lending speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. For example, refinancing today means you'll save on your mortgage and make no payments for 2 months. Golden Oaks experienced local loan officers are always local. They know the Indy market and make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon or numbers. Plus, with home value spiking, your home is worth more than you think. Use this to your advantage by locking in Golden Oaks low rates and find out how much cash you can pull out of your home. And getting started couldn't be easier with Golden Oaks free mortgage checkup. It's risk-free. There's no paperwork or credit card required. The average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. So call it 317-706-GOLD or head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937.
This is four-time Indy 500 winner Helio Castroneves in support of my Drive for 5. Penn Station East Coast Subs now has some special winning offers for Hoosiers.
This month, Penn Station's famous Philly cheesesteaks are just $5, and while supplies last, get a Drive for 5 Collector's Cup. Plus, if Helio wins number 5, 500 people win free subs for a year. Get contest details and enter at any area Penn Station or online at drive45helio.com.
Penn Station, the official sub of racing fans and Meyer Shank Racing.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? If so, we have some great news. There is finally a treatment for ED that requires no pills, no injections, and no surgery. This is the latest medical breakthrough for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The Indianapolis Men's Clinic is proud to offer the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy, which has been proven to increase blood flow, reverse ED, and increase size. Stop wasting your time with pills that produce side effects and have little to no results. Medical institutions at Cambridge University and Cleveland Clinic have shown this technology to be safe with no side effects. So if you're looking for a proven solution, call Indianapolis Men's Clinic today. They have performed over 12,000 treatments with outstanding results that can help you too. Call Indianapolis Men's Clinic at 317-999-9000. That's 317-999-9000 or at IndianapolisMen'sClinic.com.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Put on your helmet. It's about to get real.
Sean Salisbury. Why is quarterback so hard to get right?
Because you don't know from an 18-year-old kid to a 30-year-old man priorities. I've seen a lot of guys physically great that can't process information and can't handle failure, and they disappear. When it gets right down to it, am I better than you, and am I going to make quicker, better, faster decisions than you every play?
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
You had a trivia question, Jake, for Scotty? Did I hear?
Scotty's still thinking, I think. Is he given the answer yet?
I haven't heard it.
The first ever draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts.
Boy, I got nothing. Nothing. Had to be fairly high, right? 85 or 84? Had they moved by the time the draft was?
That's a good question.
They moved in what, March? February? Yeah, because it was kind of bad weather, wasn't it?
I think I told you that. Matter of fact, I'm sure I told you this just the other day. I'm still like, I think it's cool that Bob Irsay at Crown Hill Cemetery is, by coincidence, his final resting place is right across the street at the bottom of the Crown Hill from the family that were the CEOs of the Mayflower Moving Company.
Yeah, you did say that.
This player was taken with the 8th overall pick in the 1984 NFL Draft.
That's not as high as I would have guessed.
However, he did not sign with the Colts due to a contract dispute, instead signed with the Memphis Showboats of the USFL. then eventually came back to the Colts, played here until 87, and then rounded out his career with the Chargers. With the 8th pick, I'm doing my David Stern, in the 1984 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Leonard Coleman, cornerback, Vanderbilt University. There you go.
Gosh, talk about a dude I've never heard.
That's why it's a great trivia question.
2 weeks from, I think it's tomorrow, the lottery for the NBA.
Who are the Pacers sending? By the way, 239-1070 if you want to play the pop quiz. 239-1070. Call us right now.
We will know. Yeah, I'm not sure who they're sending. Last time it was Nancy Leonard, right?
I believe that's correct, yep.
That would have been last year, I guess.
David Benner?
Boy, that would make a lot of sense, yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, pretty much people usually pick, like, the owner's family or a young star.
Correct.
Or someone in the organization. Mark, you have a smile on your face. Do you want to send Boomer?
Sure, send Boomer. Kevin and Query.
Yeah, pop quiz, NFL draft focused for the early part of this pop quiz. And one of my brother's favorite players to round out number 5 today.
Really?
My brother used to write something on his shoe, which indicated what this player also wrote on his shoe.
Okay.
That dude made a lot of money in the NBA. He was a nice player. Okay, Jake, number 1 through 8.
I will go with my favorite, Jay Edwards, number 3.
Man, I thought you were going to go 8. We usually never get 8. The Colts had 8 draft picks.
Okay, we'll go with 8. Fine.
No, you're throwing me all off here. Eric.
Morning.
Eric, good morning to you.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Really?
Oh,
Eric, if you don't mind me asking, Eric, how old a fella are you?
24.
24-year-old Eric? Okay, and Eric, are you a native to Indianapolis?
Yes, sir.
And what high school would that be, Eric?
Well, we'll do the guess, know your listener, and we'll guess. If the mascot is the Cougars.
Would that be Greenfield Central?
Nope. Up north. I just gave it away.
Man,
oh, wait a minute.
Carmel Junior High's the Cougars. Give us a county.
That will give it away if you know your stuff. LaPorte County.
Oh, wow, that's...
Well, the Slicers are LaPorte.
New Prairie.
Wow.
Now,
you guys are pretty good at football, aren't you?
Now, just out of curiosity, Eric, where was the old Prairie?
Yeah, it beats me.
Now,
I think there was a little house somewhere on it.
Eric, what brought you to Indianapolis other than 65?
I live in LaPorte, so I just go down there. I'm a season ticket holder, so I just go down for the games.
Really? So you're calling us from LaPorte right now?
Yes, sir.
And how are things in LaPorte this morning? Overcast?
Oh yeah, looking a little overcast out there.
That's a
Eric,
shocker.
you ever played Beechwood Golf Course in LaPorte?
Beechwood? No, I haven't. I've played Legacy, and I've played a place called Whispering Pines in a city called Fish Lake over here.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of Whispering Pines.
Last question before we get to the quiz, Eric. As part of Get to Know Your Listener. Now, what do you do today? Like at the age of 24 now, are you a working fella? You a student? You living at home?
Yeah, my job's a little weird to explain, but I pretty much make the flashing mechanical devices that go on carnival rides.
Really?
For their lights. Yeah.
Really?
It's a job that our company has the exclusive patent to it, so we're the only ones that can make.
Do you ever have to assemble those rides, like the?
Yeah. Oh no, the rides no, but I just make the thing that makes the lights flash in the rhythm that you see carnival lights chase.
Okay.
I make that machine. It's a very specific job, but
like the Alpine. What's the Alpine Shack or whatever that plays hard rock music, and some guy stands up there. Come on up here and ride a ride.
Just the lights, baby. That's me.
Eric, you must be a smart dude.
Mark Dyson, you're the best.
Eric,
this is our music bed for the quiz, by the way. We're just going to play circus music.
Genuinely appreciate you tuning in every morning. He strikes me as a smart fellow, Jake, so I'm curious to see how he's going to do it.
Eric, just so you know, this quiz is...
I'm not about to win one of these Scotty J Pop quizzes. You're about to ask me who shot the 63rd shot in the 1959 NBA Eastern Conference Finals. I'm just here for the...
Man, Eric, you are a P1 loyal listener.
He is.
Just for that, we're going to give you a discount, and this quiz actually is only going to cost you 3 tickets. Okay, here we go. Eric, question number 1. Which team had the most players selected in last weekend's NFL draft? Was it the Bearcats of Cincinnati, the LSU Tigers, the Alabama Crimson Tide, or the Bulldogs of Georgia?
Yeah, it has to be the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay.
All right, number 2. Which school in the state of Indiana had the most players selected in this year's draft? Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame, Ball State.
Same as the number of tickets, by the way, that this is costing you.
Can I get the options again, please?
Yeah, Indiana, Purdue, Notre Dame, Ball State. Probably not who you think.
No, Notre Dame?
Probably not who you think.
Ball State?
Well, not to that degree.
Indiana?
One more.
Okay.
He's a P1 listener. All right, Eric, enough hand-holding here. All right, moving on to 3.
I said Purdue.
Mark, can you
guys
pipe down that music? It's driving me crazy.
You're in the Hall of Mirrors right now. What are you talking
That
about?
honestly might be the most annoying music in the history of the show.
All right.
From the show that played peacock noises for 2 months.
Oh, don't tap me. Don't tap me, Eric.
Touche, Eric.
All right, Eric, question number 3. The Reds continue their horrid start. They're now 3-19.
I love betting against the Reds.
Now, I hate to hear that, but I can understand.
It's a free win.
They are tied for the second worst record through 22 games in the modern era, which means since 1900. Named the only franchise that got off to a worse start through 22 games of a season. Was it the 60? Now, hang on. Let me tell you this.
Settle down just a little bit.
This team's hat has a logo where the mascot is saying, "Look, we're off to 1-21 start. Just root for us. I'm a nice fella. I'm a cute fella." Is it the 62 Mets, the 35 Braves, the 88 Orioles, or the 15 Athletics?
Has to be the Orioles.
Okay.
All right, number 4, John Morant, 34. Jaren Jackson Jr. finished with 33, and the Grizzlies lost to Golden State in the opener of their conference semifinal series yesterday afternoon. They are just the second duo in NBA postseason history, age 22 or younger, to each score 30 in the same game. The other pair was who? Durant and Westbrook, Shaq and Penny, Brandon Jennings and Larry Sanders, or Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo?
Man, I haven't heard any of the names on the selection C, so it has to be C, right?
I had a Brandon Jennings jersey in college.
Did you really?
Probably one of the more just dumb
Wasn't
purchases.
Larry Sanders a comedian?
I thought he was, who am I thinking of? Isn't he a politician as well from Vermont? Or is that Bernie?
That's Bernie with his mittens.
I think this Larry Sanders is, he enjoyed some stuff off the court, if you catch my drift here.
Okay. Eric, here you go for your last question.
Ryan Bowen's favorite player, not named Alonzo Mourning.
We're talking about Troy Murphy. It's his birthday today. He came to the Pacers as part of an 8-player deal with Golden State in January of 2007. Can you name 2 other players that were involved in this blockbuster trade that the Pacers were basically forced to make after the brawl?
I got to name 2 players.
Gosh, Eric's just a hair on the young side for this one.
How about this? One of them was at Duke and got upset by Indiana. One of them played at Arizona State. One of them played for Dan Dockich at Bowling Green. One of them now owns a weed place.
I got to get with that guy.
Okay. All right. One of them has a last name nobody can pronounce. And one of them is on NBA TV now, I think, still, and was part of a huge documentary on Netflix.
I hate leaving with no answer, but I do not know.
Who went in the stands with Ron Artest?
Dude, I don't know. Genuinely do not know.
All good, Eric. All good. All right, Jake, let's see how he did. How many could you have gotten? Could you have gotten all 7 of that?
Yes.
You would have gotten Josh Powell?
Yes, it was like yesterday to me.
Gosh, I would not have gotten Powell. Which team had the most players selected in this weekend's drafts?
He was correct. It was the Bulldogs of Georgia.
That is correct.
Not even close. 15 for them. LSU second with 10. The school in the state of Indiana that had the most players drafted. It was indeed the Boilermakers.
Loud and proud.
3 of them. George Karlaftis, David Bell, and Xander Horvath. The 88 Orioles and the cute fella on their hat. 1-21 in 88.
And this is unfortunately where Eric slipped up. The other pair, 22 or younger, each score 30 in the game, Mr. Durant and Mr. Westbrook.
You blew it! You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
Eric, thank you very much. Stay on the line. Appreciate your loyalty. The 7 players, Jake?
Those 7 players, Mike Dunleavy, Ike Diagu, and Keith McLeod, came here along with Troy Murphy in exchange for Al Harrington, Josh Powell, Steven Jackson, and Sarunas Jasikevich.
Is he a big coach in Europe right now, Sarunas? He coaches at one of the... I think his name's been floated around as a potential NBA coach.
And still no one can pronounce it.
Nor spell it.
People said... I remember Sarunas Jasikevich saying this. He's like, just think about if you told somebody you like lots of cabbage, but change it to Jasikevich. It's like, okay, I guess that works.
God, the spelling, I think, is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
For me on that. All right, one final time here. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to put extra cash in your pocket with a cash-out refinance from Golden Oak Lending.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today, while Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Spectrum is America's leading internet provider, delivering ultra-fast gig speeds you need on the high-performance network you want. And Spectrum's advanced home Wi-Fi is security made simple, automatically blocking outside threats, along with 99.9% network reliability. So no matter what you do online, you can do it faster, safer, and more reliably with Spectrum Internet. Get 200 megabits per second for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com today for details. Based on internet subscribers among top internet service providers. Restrictions apply.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
With summer right around the corner, I am itching to get back outside, hitting the golf course. And if you are concerned with some lingering aches and pains, you don't have to go through another summer with that awful joint pain. You can call QC Kinetics. I'm Kevin Bowen. You guys know that pain in your back, your knees, your shoulder, it can now be treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. And this is QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here to this modern-day joint pain solution. You can get lasting joint pain relief with no drugs, no steroids, no downtime. You've heard Emmett Smith raving about QC Kinetics, and you've read or seen other high-profile people talking about it. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics that can help get your life back. Take action now. Get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics 463-235-7160. They're in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. That's 463-235-7160.
It's a fact. Only 0.0001% of people will ever step up to the plate as a pro baseball player. For the rest of us, there's BetRivers.com Sportsbook app. Featuring same-game parlays, you can combine different bets all from the same game. Totals? Bet 'em. Spreads? Bet 'em. Player props? It's a home run. Download the BetRivers.com Sportsbook app today. It's a whole new game.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Mother's Day is Sunday, May 8th, and there are so many reasons to give a gift of fine jewelry from Shane Company.
Dear Mom, what can I say? You're amazing. From being team mom at my Little League games to putting up with me when I was a wild teenager. You've taught me so much, and I'm forever grateful. Happy Mother's Day.
A gift of fine jewelry is truly special. It's something Mom will treasure forever. Shane Company has gifts in every price range, crafted with attention and care. Stunning diamond jewelry, classic styles with sapphires, beautiful cultured pearls. Get her something stylish and colorful, like huggy earrings with vibrant gemstones. Available in either London blue topaz, red garnet, or amethyst. Or surprise her with an exquisite butterfly necklace. The wings are accented with blue sapphires. Visit us for a meaningful Mother's Day gift, tied with a burgundy bow and ready to give.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hey, it's Jake Query. Wendy's has one kind of breakfast, a better one. Start your day with a Wendy's sausage, gravy, and biscuit. We're talking savory grilled breakfast sausage and a creamy Southern-style black pepper gravy served on top of a warm, freshly baked buttermilk biscuit. Available at participating U.S. Wendy's.
Go trackside with Kurt Cabin and Kevin Lee. Weeknights at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Tons of draft conversation today. Missed any of that? You can check out the podcast. Joel Erickson from the Star also joined us in the 8 o'clock hour. Tomorrow, we're hoping to have Luke Fickell on, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. 2 of his players.
Now, my understanding is, in terms of his mood, it's very touchy.
Alec Pierce and...
So I hope he's in a good one tomorrow.
That was not one of your better ones. Alec Pierce and Curtis Brooks, both drafted by the Colts.
Hey, man.
What time are we thinking for that tomorrow, Mark?
Well, excuse me. Elio's calling at 8.
Right.
Tomorrow, not today. And then, we have got a wide open window the rest of the time for Fickell whenever he can
have
join
him on
us.
early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7:30.
So we've got everything
Football
available.
Coaches are up early.
Yeah. So
Luke Fickell, actually.
Looking forward to that conversation.
Totally. I mean,
he had some great things to say about both those guys.
Big time kudos to Cincinnati football and what he's built there. And I love the fact, I'm not saying it's going to be the case. I would love to see him stay there, for 20 years and just build something at Cincinnati instead of launching somewhere else.
And the thing that impressed me about Alec Pierce and Curtis Brooks, both very unheralded from a recruiting standpoint. Extremely. So
I love that.
Some big time development there by the Cincinnati program. So continue to share some draft tidbits over the course of the week. Hope to have some other, coaches that have been affiliated with these players. And Jelani Woods, you're saying that's the one that you want me to try and get on?
Yeah, I think he'd be cool.
Yeah,
he looks kind of like...
He was great in the Zoom interview.
I can't say what he looked like in person, but his headshot, he looks kind of like a bigger, stronger Robert Griffin III. Like just,
I can see that.
His facial features.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And again, I know some people might not care at all about this, but I was pretty impressed by all 8 of the individuals on the Zoom. Certainly very, very excited. They got a Yale dude, so he's smart.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what a redneck does when he can't be heard?
I think you've said.
I did this during the tournament, didn't I? Yeah. Yale. I made that joke up myself. Let me tell you, that's an Ivy League level joke right there.
Jake, you are a busy man here in the month of May at night, correct?
I am. 8 o'clock tonight will be the first episode with Mike Thompson of Beyond the Bricks, our stories of the personalities, the legends, the everything else above and beyond just the statistics of the Indianapolis 500. So the first of those begins tonight at 8 o'clock. 45 years ago today was the unfortunate passing of Sid Collins, the original chief announcer of the 500. So we have a lot of audio of Sid taking a look back at his career and then his kind of passing it along to his handpicked successor, Paul Page. That's tonight.
We're still waiting official word on a 33rd car?
That is correct. I think there are a couple of teams that have some interest in being the one to do that, but we don't know yet who the driver would be.
So again, trackside 7 o'clock, Beyond the Bricks 8 o'clock, and that is pretty much the nightly routine here during the week for the month of May. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Again, draft content up on the site as well to go along with Jake's driver features. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Elio Castroneves and hoping to have Luke Fickell